Hey, gang. What's up? We, waiting on Sunday. He's getting set up. He'll be a few minutes, but I wanted to go live a little bit early to say hello to all you wonderful, wonderful individuals. Hi. How's it going? 𝕍𝖎, nice to see you. 𝕾𝖍𝖎𝖙𝖘𝖍𝖔𝖜, a pleasure. 𝕾𝖍𝖎𝖙𝖘𝖍𝖔𝖜, nice. Always glad to have you around. 𝕾𝖍𝖎𝖙𝖘𝖍𝖔𝖜 from YouTube. First, yes, you are. Welcome to the stream. Welcome. The Wednesday stream. Yeah, nah, it's good. I like you on YouTube. You feel right on YouTube, right? I like to, honestly, I'd love everyone to be on both. I'm not gonna lie. I'd like cross-pollination, right, of this space. But we are what we are. Give me 1 second, gang. Oh, President Sunday's running a smidge late. He'll be here in about 5 after, so 6:05. So until then, what are we going to do, gang? What are we going to talk about? What are we going to listen to? I have something for us to listen to. So, 𝕾𝖍𝖎𝖙𝖘𝖍𝖔𝖜, valued member of our community, has made some. He made a beat for us. He made a track, right? He put together some clips. He put together some sounds, some of the wise words from yours truly, and he put it to a beat. And so I guess while we wait for Sunday to get here, would you guys like to listen to it, gang? First of all, hi, Jenny. Nice to see you. Welcome, welcome. Let's begin. Yes. No, it won't. I don't believe. But here we go. Let's see if this works out. Okay, you guys ready? Listen. Give it a listen. We should be prejudiced. I think that's a good thing. Retard.
Yeah,
retard,
but
retard. Yeah,
retard, but
retard. People will report me all they want. Retard.
Yeah,
retard,
but
retard.
come on.
Retard. Retard. Niggling. Retard.
Come on.
But it's retard. Niggle. Retard.
Yeah, but
Fire. Niggling. Retard.
Like what?
Niggling. Retard.
Come on.
But it's niggling. Retard.
But you get reported for it. It's like what? Who says that, bro?
People report me all the time. Okay. He posted this in my chat, in my Discord chat, to be clear, at like 7 a.m. And so I didn't see it till I woke up. It was amazing. This was every single bit of this was from last night's conversation. So if you saw last night's conversation with me, Synth, and Azzy, that's where it was from. The whole, every clip in that thing is taken from that conversation and put to a beat. It's amazing. No comedy hour. We're just waiting on President Sunday. Giga Chad. He said he's gonna be 5 minutes late, so we're waiting on him, and I'm filling the void until that time comes. Other things that are interesting to talk about. So, apparently, I need to do a geopolitical panel soon because people on Twitter are unable to distinguish the oppressive nature of Iran and the United States of America. They think these things are equivalent. They think that they are just as bad. That Iran, from the Middle East, Iran, yeah, the country Iran, right, is just as bad as America. That they are equivalent. What? Who would ever believe such a thing? Oh, I don't know, 𝕵𝖎𝖎 𝖎𝖙. I don't know if President Sunday ever wants to come on my stream after that. That was a lot. But yeah, 𝕾𝖍𝖎𝖙, they would say things like, well, America oppresses women too. Look at Roe v. Wade getting overturned. And while yes, Roe v. Wade getting overturned is concerning and is bad, Iran, if you don't wear a hijab, you will get attacked by the morality police, put in jail, and maybe even shot. Way different things, right? And not by a mass shooter or anything, by the state. The state will do this to you. Anyone who thinks that these are remotely equivalent, remotely equal to one another, is missing the point. I confess I do not know the ins and outs of the Iranian judicial system. I don't hear good things. Back, was it earlier this year or perhaps late last year, where the Iranian women were engaged in those mass protests across the country? The protesters were not treated like we treat protesters over here, right? It was rough, gang. It was rough. 𝕵𝖎𝖎 𝖎𝖙 says, depends on your morality, Wick. Iran are closer to their ideal moral Iran than U.S. is to the ideal moral U.S. No, I don't think that's true. I don't think that's true at all, honestly. I think that while part of the morality of the U.S. liberal democracy is contention, that is baked into the system of we talk, we discuss, we fight even, right? We argue, we have laws that get overturned, we get laws that passed, we have a strong constitutional framework that pretty much is intact. Like that's our moral code here. And frankly, it's just a better moral code. It's just a better moral code than Iran has. It's just a better moral code. It's not perfect. I'm never going to say America's perfect, gang. America's done some really screwed up shit. In fact, a lot of the reasons that Iran's the way it is now is because America overturned a democracy back in the 70s, I believe, right? That was a problem. Maybe it was the 50s it was overturned. Anyway, got my timelines mixed up. It was a while ago, right? The U.S. meddled. The CIA did some ops there. It was bad. And the government there, the democracy there, got overthrown by theocrats. However, the U.S. currently isn't forcing them to do anything, right? Like, we have some sanctions still, I believe, on them. But we aren't forcing them to oppress their people. That's their choice. That's what they're doing. They are a theocracy. They are not a democracy. They are a theocracy. And for all of our sins, we are still a democracy here in the United States of America. So, yeah. I just reject the notion that we are comparable. I think that Iran is just, frankly, a worse country, right, to live in, both morally, right? It's I would rather, right? I would rather live under American hegemony than Iranian hegemony, right? I would rather other people live under American hegemony than Iranian hegemony. I think that it's just a better system. I don't know how else to say it, gang. I don't know how else to discuss it. It's just I can't think of a single metric, like, or a single group. Like, I can imagine, like, if I wasn't who I was, like, if I was a minority of some sort, whether it be a woman or black or whatever you wanna imagine, right? I would still rather live in America than Iran, of all places. Portland is burning. Thank you for the sub. 14 months of Wick. Where, oh, where does the time go? Indeed. Welcome, welcome. We're still waiting on Sunday. I don't know where he is. Hopefully soon, right? And we'll get this show started. Are you guys excited for tomorrow? We got Bryson Gray coming on tomorrow. That'll be fun, gang. I wonder if I should show him my song. I wonder if he'll like that. Or if I wonder if he'll think it's really, really terrible. Probably not going to show it to him, right? I'd be too embarrassed. But gang, I love the track. It's fire. I tweeted out about it if you want to check it on my Twitter. If you're not following my Twitter, what are you doing? Portland, I might save that for the end of my show. Yeah, probably. Can I give some background on the Shark Zero issue? Yes, I can. You guys are probably tired of hearing about it. I gave some yesterday. Oh, Sunday is here. Let me join that call and we will get set up. So give me 1 second, gang. Hello, hello, hello.
Hello.
Let me pop us out. Get us out there.
What do I want to use? Probably this one.
Okay, people can see us. How's the audio, gang? Can you guys hear us?
Audio seems fine on my end. Let me just figure out, how was I doing this before? So I think I had us over here. Where's Discord?
Take your time.
Gotta pop
It's not
that
like we're in front of a live studio audience.
Oh, I mean, is my audience really alive?
I mean, as much as anyone can be alive. How you doing, by the way? You feeling good? You feeling...
Better than a couple
awake
days
and alive?
ago.
Oh, that's good. That's good.
There we go. So that, boom, boom, cut that down. This is going to become a ritual where I reorganize my entire OBS every single time we start stream.
Yeah, you could just make different scenes, right?
Yeah, that would be the intelligent thing to do, I agree. Unfortunately, I am me.
Great Sag, who sings the song? Well, we decide at the end who sings the song. If you want me
whoever makes the most has to sing the song.
If you give me money, I'll sing a song for you. If we give Sunday money, you have to hear him sing. So
this is true, yes. Not optional. Like, you actually have to stick around, or else I'll just ban you. I will be paying attention to who's not commenting with enough vigor in chat.
Are we blurry? Muda de Garwa, are we blurry? Can you not see us?
You don't seem blurry to me.
Yeah, it doesn't look blurry to me in the Discord. Does it look?
That might happen to you if your connection is weak and you jump down to like 144 FPS or something.
I hope my connection. I need a strong connection because.
Well, not yours. Your viewers.
Oh, fair enough.
Okay, so I'm going to pop this on screen. Do you know enough about this to give an intro, or do you want me to do it?
Go for it. You can. You were much more in that space, so I'll let you introduce.
But you saw this. You saw the Soul Bunny video.
Yes.
You know what that's all about. We've talked about that. Okay, so I actually haven't seen this yet. This is I've seen bits and pieces on Twitter, but Shark Zero, who was called a sea slur in the Soul Bunny video. It's been, unfortunately, the only topic from that to be discussed, which is why you don't do that, geniuses. Made a response called "Addressing the Allegations," which is strange for a number of reasons. First of all, it's substantially longer than the Soul Bunny video. And secondly, I'm actually unaware of allegations against Shark. This makes it sound like he's in some kind of sex scandal, which is not the case. So this will be... I actually don't know what to expect here. I expect elaborations on reciprocal use of slurs. I expect there will be some bullying of liberals in this stream, but you know,
I'll try not to take it personally.
Maybe that's the spirit.
Yes, I saw the first.
Hobbits are tall on the inside.
Indeed. you know, a 6'6" soul and a 5'8" body. That's all I gotta say. Okay. So, I saw the first 10 minutes of it, right? And again, at the time when I first saw it, I had not seen the Soul Bunny video. I went back and watched the Soul Bunny video to kind of catch up and kind of get my bearings and kind of see where we were at. But I decided, you know what? Instead of watching the whole thing alone in the dark in my room, I could bring it before the council, right? And we could watch it together as a team. Sundick, yeah, make a show of it, right?
Huzzah. Wix chat. I want to see some generosity this stream because we are kicking it off with $49.99 from 𝕾𝖎𝖙𝖘𝖍𝖔𝖜. Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Please don't make me listen to another really, really bad song from President Sunday. Your voice is actually fine. Your song choice, however, requires improvement. Let's say that.
My song choice is impeccable.
It's something. It's certainly a choice.
All right, so I should probably share this. That might help
Yeah,
things.
stream it for us so we can all see it, right?
Give me one sec. Dressing the allegation.
𝕾𝖍𝖎𝖙𝖘𝖍𝖔𝖜. I love Sundick show for 10 pounds. Well, I'm glad you like it. Let me adjust the...
Well, for me, of course. Okay, seriously, chat. Give Wick money, or else I'm gonna be doing opera at the end of this. I swear to God.
Faust or something? I don't know.
I think the only one I know sort of by sound is 𝕾𝖍𝖎𝖙𝖘𝖍𝖔𝖜 because the Doctor from Star Trek Voyager sings it at one point.
I got the Phantom of the Opera, but go ahead.
Addressing the Allegations by 𝕻𝖎𝖎300. Badoom.
In an era of deceit, telling the truth is a revolutionary act. Thank you, George Orwell. You're a good guy, Jack.
With the glass ceiling broken, all the oppressed groups shall prosper, especially the most oppressed group of all, gamers.
Hey guys. Hope you all are doing well. Welcome back to another video. This is going to be a little bit different than normal videos that we do here on the channel. Mostly because what we have to talk about is a little different than what we normally do on the channel. But
how's the audio?
It's good on my end. Can you guys hear over there?
Seems to be fine. I don't see people complaining.
Fair enough. Okay. Well,
that's just kind of how things are. For the last 2 weeks, basically, there's been a concerted effort to destroy my reputation. And that's just what I've been dealing with for about the last 10 days. And I wanted to go over it. I talked about this a little bit on stream, but I thought it'd be pretty good to talk about it here on the channel and make it its own segment so I don't have to bring it back to the stream. And you guys are filled in on everything. I've seen some people talk about how they've heard little inklings about they've been listening to the grapevine, and it's been spewing whispers about a possible drama concerning me on the Bird app. Now, some of you may be worried. I know a lot of these videos are typically set up as a sort of like apology response video, but I am going to put the brakes on all of that and let you know that don't worry. I know for a fact I don't have anything to be sorry for. So this is going to be a video explaining everything and showing my side of the story, since I know they don't care. So this is for you and not them. I think they're bad people and don't deserve any clout or recognition
or mercy
or an apology from me at all. And so that's just going to be that. But I want to hop into it because I don't.
Put the pause. So initial impressions, right? So this is why I sent it to you. The energy's great, right? And also, again, when I did initially see the video, I was worried that it would be conciliatory, right? I think we give in to bullies too much. We give in to bullies too much in this space. And what they were doing, right? What I had seen through the grapevines, right? What I'd been hearing, right? Was a lot of people just excoriating this man, right? Excoriating him for very, very little. It was always really unclear exactly what precisely they were coming at him for. But he was a traitor, right? And they didn't use that word. They used other words, right? So I was very pleased that he wasn't going to give in, right? And that he was going to stand up and give his side of the story unapologetically. So, again, starting off strong. I like it. We'll see how it goes, right?
I'm not particularly surprised about that. Vosh tends to select his friends and associates tend to select their friends based on a certain combativeness. I wouldn't expect Shark to take any of that sitting down. One of the things that's really annoyed me, and I've been pleased to see that we've moved a little bit past this, a little bit, is when other people on the sidelines will sort of step in to make excuses for it, on the grounds of I don't know. Like the one that annoys me the most is the idea that because this is some kind of inter-community thing, because of course the person calling him a sea slur is black, that therefore there is absolutely nothing that somebody can find fault with it. That's kind of preposterous.
It's dehumanizing. Let's be real. It's dehumanizing.
It's not even so much that it's dehumanizing. It's that it seems to assume some kind of corporate ownership of discourse concerning Shark on the grounds of not even an ethnic similarity, like literally just basically, yeah. So a lot of people have been jumping on that. One of the things that really frustrates me is that the 𝕾𝖎𝖙 video actually did touch on some stuff that's pretty serious and actually does merit discussion. Not as dire as it made some of it seem, but not completely undire either. And as a consequence of making some of the moves that she did, namely making racial attacks against Shark in particular, we'll never actually get to those now. In fact, the next time we try to talk about this, people are going to have the 𝕾𝖎𝖙 video in mind, at least for the next little while. That's really frustrating. Shall we press on?
I don't want this video to be too long. There's some really interesting things in here that I think probably need like a little bit of an explanation, not necessarily because they needed an explanation to begin with, but because of after their basically 2 weeks of unfettered misinformation campaign that they're trying to do on me as a person. I think the lies that they've been trying to push need a little bit of an explanation, a little bit more context, since they're incredibly deceitful in the way that they're trying to go about things. That being said, I think they're pretty dumb, and I don't think a very smart person is going to be fooled by it, but somebody who doesn't know anything about me and may trust these people may believe them off the face. I just want to make these couple arguments here on this issue because I do think they're at least a little bit important. So where did this all start? Basically, this all started when a creator, I'm not going to be saying their name, but a creator released a video on LeftTube. They were very angry about me. They didn't like me and how I engaged in the space and for who and to who I talked to. I'm not mentioned very much in this video, but it's just for a split second, and I want to go over it a little bit.
Now to these important next clips.
It's real bad. You guys saying that she leaked the sects, which by the way, I saw large content creators repeating the fact that she leaked the sects, which never happened.
Demon Mom has disavowed 𝕾𝖎𝖙's use of these clips.
Fair enough.
That did not ever.
And to be clear, I wasn't. Even watching 𝕾𝖎𝖙's video, you don't really get real context of these clips, right? Like it's not explained. At least it was. Maybe I was just in a weird headspace when I saw it, but I did not come away feeling educated on why these clips matter or are important, right? So, I don't know.
Well, one of the major things that annoys me about it is that it's extremely lazy. If this was like some kind of misguided passion project, that would be one thing. But she basically just fires off a bunch of invective against a couple of streamers and then spends the rest of the video it's a live stream of her talking about the Noodle book.
So a question for my audience, and since we're paused, I'll just ask: is this 𝕾𝖎𝖙 a clout shark?
I would say so, in my humble opinion. I don't think everybody who makes these arguments, everybody supporting her, is a clout shark.
Sure.
But one of the things that sticks out to me about this video is that the vast majority of it has nothing to do with the title, which is the white leftist industrial complex. The Noodle book has nothing to do with a quote-unquote white leftist industrial complex. That is, at best, a situation of mild cultural insensitivity, like mild to the point of it's a little bit ridiculous that we're fixating on it because it makes the whole question seem like a parody of itself. There was no effort put into this thing. Like, she just didn't care. The reason why it's the white leftist industrial complex and not a milquetoast video about cultural appropriation or about sort of being insensitive and presumptuous when it comes to the issues facing groups that are not your own, is so that she can get views based on the anti-Vosh crowd, which is basically what it all amounted to, which is why we're relitigating the Professor Flowers thing.
Imagine getting views from an anti-crowd, right? Imagine doing that.
Imagine. Well, I think the main thing here, it's not so much that it's anti-Vosh, it's that it's stale.
Sure.
There are things to take issue with Vosh on. I took severe issue with him on the Professor Flowers thing. But we're digging this up from, how long ago was that? Like a year and a half? It was a long while. We're digging up the ContraPoints stuff, the Rowling stuff, and all this immediately after ContraPoints digs this up. Like, it seems, I don't know, it seems opportunistic to me.
I don't, I guess, so I don't know Soul Bunny. I'm not familiar with her content. I'm not as familiar with that sphere of content creators as perhaps you might be. I honestly don't care if this is a clout shark thing. Like, I understand because of the world we live in, right? The ocean we're swimming in as content creators, you have to go for clout to a certain extent, right? You kind of have to build up reputation and also build up relationships, positive and negative, right? And one of the ways you do that is by talking about other creators, right? Or talking to other creators.
Yeah.
And I think there's nothing inherently wrong about that. So whether it's a clout shark thing or not a clout shark thing, I would rather address what is being actually said, right? Which makes, again, as you said, the video kind of weak. It doesn't say much, right?
Well, I don't disagree with that. I think when people are saying something like an example of clout sharking, they aren't just highlighting that they're talking about other creators to get attention. It's that's all that's going on, because there wasn't any effort put into doing anything else but shoehorning in some popular discourse for the sake of getting attention, as opposed to using some popular discourse to get attention to something serious or important. I think that's really what it is. It's ultimately it's a waste of everyone's time and only benefits Soul Bunny, which is why I don't really have a problem with that description. Let's press on.
Never happened. No sects were ever leaked by anyone. All that Cat Black ever did was say that the greatest extent that they ever engaged was to sext a few years ago. You guys have been spreading that lie all the fuck over the place. And honestly, that's fucking shit. Just fucking misinfo. And it is, I'm seeing it now, by the way, people perpetuating this, and this is how you start to build up a cancellation profile for someone who didn't even do the things you're accusing of them.
First of all, F you Shark for being another black man complicit in some racist transphobic bull against a black trans woman. You're really giving leftist Candace Owens vibes. You were so mask off with your bad faith attacks on Cat Black. Shark was the first content creator to push this misinformation that debate bros till this day still latch onto. The hordes of racist white queer people that ran with this to attempt to silence Cat and anyone calling out the bold trans misogynoir. Shark gained a lot of clout and profited off of the attacks. Black trans people don't have to accept contradictory allyship from cis black men, throwing black trans people to the wolves that are debate bros. Cat wasn't the first or the last trans person he's gone after. The clout and access he gained after strategically going after Professor Flowers was the first time I sensed coup vibes from him. At the moment, he lacks any contrition for the hate he pushed. I don't have time to deal with Uncle Ruckus Jr. when my black and brown trans siblings are lacking resources.
Oh, I forgot about the Uncle Ruckus Jr. line.
Yeah, that's not quite a slur, right? It's not a slur, but it's not a good comparison, right?
It's in the ballpark.
Yeah, it's definitely implying some things about a person of color that it's not complimentary, let's say, right? So, Cat Black, Professor Flowers, and was there any other person they mentioned that Shark had apparently gone after? Was there anyone else?
I didn't catch it. I can here. Let me open the transcript quickly. Let's look.
Please.
Let's see. So, 419. It really should just like go directly to the line that you're on. Okay. Gone after Professor Flowers. Profited off the tax. Black trans people have to accept contradictory allyship from cis black man throwing black trans people to the woods. I think it's just Cat Black.
And it really didn't, other than that clip used, right, where Shark Zero, at least in the clip as it's presented, appears to be going after someone for releasing Vosh's, sexting pics, which may or may
what
not
actually
happen,
happened is
right.
she talked about that they had sexed and then made some comment about like his genitalia. She didn't release the actual sex themselves. That was a rumor that was spreading about. I thought that at one point. Yeah. So I mean, he jumped on something that a lot of people were saying at the time. That's not even really nothing to do with Shark.
That's just Okay.
This is him being uncritical.
I'm just like just to be clear why I'm going over this, because I want to understand what the critique specifically is. But it sounds like, at least from that, other than that clip, there's no specific critique here. There's simply like he goes after black creators, specifically trans black creators, and he's got contrary allyship. He gives off Candace Owen vibes, and then slurs, right? So.
Yeah. So far, yeah.
How are we supposed to engage with that? Like if I knew nothing about either content creator, right?
You're supposed to listen, Wick.
Oh, I'm not. You ain't talking to a leftist here. You're talking to me. Talking to Wick. I don't listen. Listening, that's for leftists. Okay, I don't do any of that shit. I'm here to make calls and to insert myself into discourse. And how am I supposed to do that if it's super unclear? I don't know. Anyway, carry on.
Support dying and being murdered.
Okay, super interesting, right? Let's go into it. Now, I don't remember literally everything from the debacle with Cat Black. I made a little video recording my personal feelings on the issue when it happened, because I was in chat when it was like kind of all going down. I don't remember all of the details, and the timeline is a little important for some things, not important for what I think I'm going to be talking about here, and not important for what I talked about, little tweet thread that I made talking about some of the issues. And I want to go over that and read it now, because this person didn't read it. I'm not sure if there was she, but they definitely showed it. I said, in the video they posted, as Demon Mama was talking about how people were lying about Cat Black leaking sex, they showed my tweet thread where I said, no matter what you think of Vosh, what Cat did the other day was 100% sexual harassment, and I think it's plain gross. I always speak highly of Cat, especially in her talks about sex and consent, which makes this even more sad. Revealing intimate conversations and publicly trying to demean and humiliate someone about their genitals is so nasty and manipulative, it genuinely shocks me someone took it with such nonchalance. If I had a falling out with a female streamer and I talked about how we sent lewd texts and she had weird tits just apropos of nothing, I hope you all would tear me apart for that. It's so childish, weird, and sexual harassment. And I'm going to tell you now, I stand by this tweet 100%. This is a very good tweet thread, and I'm actually pretty shocked that I was so poignant and careful with my language here, because it actually does matter. Cat and Vosh were having like a back and forth. I think Cat was in the wrong in this situation.
Does he have receipts? I just want to see that thread. That would have been helpful, Shark, but whatever. Here, we'll just scroll back so we can see the thread again.
Well, even in the clip, there's only like 2 texts, right? Like there's. Yeah. It's not. We can't see the whole thread, right? So I don't know. Right.
I just want to see what he shows.
Childish, weird, and sexual harassment. And I'm going to tell you now, I stand by this tweet 100%. This is a very.
Oh, he didn't show it. Okay, it was
just
earlier.
read it.
Okay, forget it.
Good tweet thread. And I'm actually pretty shocked that I was so poignant and careful with my language here, because it actually does matter. Cat and Vosh were having like a back and forth. I think Cat was in the wrong in this situation, just off the cuff because what I remember, and you guys can correct me if I'm wrong, but what I remember is that they were having a bit of a falling out. Kat said that they were talking a lot in DMs, and she said that Vaush wasn't open to listening to her at all. I feel like if they were having this conversation in private and Vaush going to her and talking to her about the issues that he was having with some things in the space, some issues related to identity, and they were having that discussion in private, I don't think Kat was really caring to listen to him at all, which is fine and completely within her right to not do. She doesn't have to. She doesn't owed him any conversation at all. I just think that it's weird to proposition yourself as somebody who wasn't listened to at all or not respected, when in the conversation itself it showed that you were not caring about what he had to say at all and didn't care to provide any information or work with him at all in this conversation. I just don't know what the point of talking to each other would be at all. And it seemed like he trusted her because they shared some intimacy together. After this, I'm pretty sure what happened is that somebody in Vaush's chat said that you may not be her type because they were having like a little bit of a back and forth. I think there's a little bit of misogyny in there. If I remember correctly, Vaush was like, I'm pretty sure she's into white guys. I do believe that what Vaush said was wrong, and I think a reasonable person could categorize it as sexual harassment as well. I believe what he said almost verbatim was that he thinks that she fetishizes white guys, and I think that's wrong. I won't add any more qualification there. Obviously, what he said made her feel a certain type of way, and I don't think that's necessarily wrong. If he didn't want her to come back at him, obviously he shouldn't have said anything. Kat then went on to talk about how they sexted.
Yeah. One of the issues, right? Like, normally, if this hadn't touched on some other issues I had that I wanted to talk about when it comes to like slurs and reciprocal, right? When is revenge or reciprocal kind of attacks okay? These things, I probably would have just brushed this aside because, again, just from that, it sounds like a very he said, she said kind of thing. It sounds very like both sides were being kind of weird and very personal. And I tend not to really get into the kind of like someone had a relationship, there was a breakup, or there was a destruction of the relationship, or deterioration or disintegration of the relationship, and so they both got petty. I mean, that happens. I wouldn't necessarily cast blame on any party for doing, for saying shit, right? It's just talking shit at that point. So if that's all this was, I would have been like, whatever, I don't care. Right.
Yeah, well, the problem though is that it blew up because you had a massive platform in ContraPoints that was taking this up and making a public deal of it as well. So this whole thing was just ridiculous on everybody's end. I don't think anybody involved in this came out really looking good. It was really ridiculous.
Yeah.
Vaush least of all, unfortunately, but.
Before in the past years ago or something, how they sent sexual text messages, how they were like sexting or trying to get each other to fucking nut or something. I don't know necessarily in DMs. I don't use Twitter necessarily as a dating app, or at least I try not to. But as far as I remember, that's what happened. And then after that, she then went on to talk to some people in her community or whatever about how Vaush is weird. He has like an ugly, weird, small dick or something along those lines. And that's the part that I really had a massive issue with. Having somebody reveal something to you privately, like their genitals or something that is supposed to be a confidential situation, and then you just use it specifically to body shame them in that moment. I think that's pretty crazy. And I still stand by my hypothetical at the end of the tweet thread to kind of like bring it home to people who may not be on the same page as me, that if I were to have a falling out with like a female content creator and they were talking and somebody in their chat said, maybe you two are not getting along because you're not his type, and then she was like, I'm pretty sure she's into, insert in identity girl here, and then I came back with talking about how we used to sex and she sent me titty pics, and then I said that she had weird tits, I would hope that you all would tear me out for that. That's crazy. That's crazy. Is it not? Am I just am I an insane person here for thinking that's crazy? Because I think that's crazy.
I don't think it's okay.
And I never
that
said that she leaked tech.
Yeah, I don't think that's what I'm with him. I don't think it's okay, but like that happens so often, like to men and women both, right? When there is a breakup or when people are intimate and then they break up, they tend to talk shit about each other at least to their friends. Maybe not so often in public, but again, I've been with guys who've gone through breakups, and I've been friends with both partners, right? And both of them would talk shit to me, right, about the other one. That's just kind of a catharsis thing. I don't I don't know if it's.
I think there is a difference though. There is a difference though, I think, between, and I mean they're still both like a violation of a sort, but there's a difference.
It's not good. Like I'm not excusing it. I'm just saying it's not.
But there's a difference, for example,
right?
like with saying that to like a friend or a group of friends in private, and weaponizing that as like a tool of public shaming at the scale of hundreds of thousands of people. They're different. I think at a certain scale, there's a threshold beyond which it ceases to be the same kind of act. And the nature of this is that it was used as a political bludgeon specifically.
Gotcha. Okay.
This wasn't just catharsis. This was in response.
Public Twitter.
Yeah. Well, do you know the context for when that took place? Do you recall?
Remind me.
That was the whole tactical misogyny thing, where I can't even remember the exact quote, but he made some comment about women should just be quiet or something like that in response to J.K. Rowling, sort of weaponizing her history of abuse against trans people.
Yes, I do remember this, right?
Yeah.
He made a very misogynistic comment towards her, right? Which, again, not good. It wasn't good, right? So...
No, and in typical 𝕵𝖎𝖎 fashion, he was an idiot and he doubled down. But in retaliation to that, Cat Black and ContraPoints made like a big public condemnation of him, and in the course of that, Cat started revealing intimate details of his body and things like this, which was strange.
Yeah, well, this is par for the course. This is what we've like. This happens with the slur discourse too. Someone does a bad thing, and we could all agree, right? 𝕵𝖎𝖎, as you presented it, misogyny bad, okay? Doubling down on it, worse, right? And so suddenly, in order to retaliate, we want to do bad things to them. So Cat Black, apparently, right, decided to be really, really gross about his body shaming and things like that. She felt justified. She was not. I don't think these things are justified. I think that we need to stop being okay with doing bad things to bad people. We just need to cut it out. I know it's natural. I know it's human, right? Oh, believe me, when someone goes at me, I want to go at them twice as hard. But I hold myself back because it would be wrong. In most cases, right? There's exceptions.
Well, I think most people get that. I think what happens though is, and there's like an element of truth to this. In the moment when there's like an escalation, and people are beefing publicly, if you perceive that somebody has upped the ante somehow, that now licenses you to do something equivalent or just slightly up. There's like a tit for tat there, and people forget that all of these communications, they live past the context that seemed to justify them in the moment. And so here we are again talking about this, like every single person was just out of the blue saying slurs, out of the blue just sharing intimate details or sects even or things like that. It's dumb.
Yeah, I know they feel justified. It's just not.
I never said that she
hang on. Press the button.
That...
Okay, sorry. As you were.
Oh yeah, I know it feels justified right in the moment because, you know, intuitively they've done it to me, I can do it to them. That's a very intuitive thing. Like they've opened this box, they've opened this door, but the proper response in most cases, not every case, there are exceptions to this, is, I know this, maybe it's my religious upbringing, turn the other cheek, right? Just turn the other cheek. A soft answer turneth away wrath, right? If you know, how often are you supposed to forgive those who trespass against you? 7 times 7, right? Like, escalation.
Okay, well, here's the problem with that logic, Wick. When you got 100,000 people retweeting your comments, you exceed that number very fast.
Fair enough.
That's a very clear thing. That's a very specific thing, and I didn't say that she did that. I very clearly said that she revealed that they had intimate conversations, which she did. I could say she talked about how they had intimate conversations. I still respect and I like Kat. I'm still subscribed to her and I still watch her content. I don't think that she's a bad person. I think good people can make bad decisions, and I think good people can do some incorrect things. I think 𝕵𝖎𝖎 has done bad things, and we'll talk about that here in a moment. But I think Kat has done bad things here, and I think it very clearly is sexual harassment. I consider like other content creators and everything coworkers here.
Okay, we'll let that one stand.
To some degree. And I think doing something like that is sexual harassment. I think it is pretty fucked up. If I once again, if I did something like that to a woman content creator or a man content creator, like gender doesn't even necessarily matter here, but like you can put the shoe on the other foot, you know, swap the roles type thing. People typically respond better to that. I don't think it's good, but it happens. But yeah, if I did this to a man, I still think it'd be pretty messed up. The bro showed me his taint and it's like dimpled like chicken skin. He's so gross. 𝕾𝖎, what an idiot, dumbass. I think it'd be pretty messed up. I don't think that you should do that. And I don't think I'm in the wrong here for calling Kat out on this.
I think that must have been the most violently gross description of someone's genitals I've heard all week. Well done, Shark.
I didn't need it, but here we are, right? It happened, and let's carry on, right?
I'm pretty sure I even also, she didn't play me talking about 𝕵𝖎, but which is also really interesting. And all of these sorts of things, what you're going to see is that they play me talking about Black people or some other types of people or some other groups, but they never play me criticizing the people who they say I'm always peddling for. I also really want to put this idea of my mistreatment of Professor Flowers to rest, because in my original video that I released about her discussion with 𝕵𝖎, I really feel like I was incredibly fair and kind to her in that discussion. I'm not going to be rehashing and relitigating everything that I said in that video, because I think that video stands by itself, and I really think that I made all of the points that I needed to. That on top of the fact that like I don't remember every single detail of those discussions because it just happened so long ago now. But I want to talk about this because I think like normal, rational people could possibly be lied to about my possible treatment of Professor Flowers, and I just think that's unfortunate because I really think I was pretty good in my analysis.
This is,
so,
if I may.
Since I'm blocked by Professor Flowers...
I'm sorry, I got a lot to say, though.
No,
this is only tangential to the shark and the Soul Bunny stuff.
it is.
Right? But this is important to remember. Social media, Twitter specifically, we are all coming to these tweets from different avenues, and that matters. So to his point of he wants to put this out to address, right, the concerns of people who will be coming through it, not through how I did or not through how you did, but from outside of this space who may come across this and see this, right? It does change the context of things. So one of the things we have to remember, one of the things that makes Twitter so, I think, toxic is you can have someone who has arrived at a certain statement made by a creator. And so they've taken 5 steps, gone through different quote tweets, gone through different replies to make it there. And this has shaped their view. It has primed them to view that statement, interpret that statement in a certain way, right? And so they come in hot, right? Like they're already angry, they're already upset, they're already mad. They're like, oh, this guy's, oh, thank you. No Justice MTG for the raid with 18 people. Welcome, welcome. We're going over the Shark Zero stuff. Stick around.
Nice.
And then they are talking to people in that thread who have come to this from an entirely different angle, right? They've come through an entirely different space. So the priming and the context of what's being said is entirely different, right? It's a problem. It creates unnecessary contention and unnecessary misunderstanding. Both sides are very sure that their context is the right one because look, they have this like track that they've taken to get here, and it just blows things up. But anyway.
Well, I think also like as far as this being tangential, one of the major things that Soul Bunny did in her video, is ironic given it's called the White Leftist Industrial Complex, is to target Shark as a traitor to Black content creators in general. So he has to go through now and litigate all this stuff that Soul Bunny barely touched on, because this is all just basically being taken as code. Hey, every faux pas 𝕵𝖎 committed, every time he was unfair, every time he was prejudiced, yada yada yada. Yeah, Shark basically just bought onto that for e-clout to keep his friend connections online. which is gross. So he now has to go through and relitigate everything, even if it wasn't even specifically targeting him, because he seems to have actually been like more predominantly a target of that video than 𝕵𝖎𝖎 was, just by dint of that. Because 𝕵𝖎𝖎 is unaffected ultimately. Like this is one of the most annoying things about 𝕾𝖍𝖎𝖙𝖘𝖍𝖔 that it's been done a million times before. This is like the semi-annual anti-𝕵𝖎𝖎 video that relitigates the exact same stuff over and over and over again. It's like if Mr. Girl did the article every single year. It's exhausting. Targeting 𝕬𝖎ark in this way is a little bit fresh.
Now, and I'm pretty sure we block each other. I'm going to do something that I don't typically do, but I feel like it's going to be important in this situation because all of these people keep wanting to lie about this, and I just feel like at this point I don't have any other reason not to show this. So I'm going to be, unlike what I said to Cat Black, I am going to be leaking DMs, my DMs, with Professor Flowers, because we did actually talk a little bit. And this is why I think that I treated her pretty well.
Oh boy.
Because I believe that she thought that I treated her so well, in fact, that she believed that I was worth having even a little bit of a correspondence with. So here is my correspondence with Professor Flowers. On September 25th, 2021, holy crap, it's been so long. But she reached out to me after my video and said,
do you want me to read it? I think he's going to read the whole thing, but I could read
Oh, if he reads the whole thing, great.
Yeah.
Hi, I saw your video about my debate with 𝕵𝖎𝖎. I just wanted you to know that 𝕵𝖎𝖎 and I agreed on an entirely different topic than in
Okay, so he's paraphrasing it. This is what it actually says. Hi, I saw you made a video on my debate with 𝕵𝖎𝖎. I just wanted to say that 𝕵𝖎𝖎 and I agreed to debate on an entirely different topic than anti-colonialist violence and separatism. I was completely unprepared for the topics. I think debating colonialism is wrong and is a subject that needs to be listened to and understood. Not argued. It's really frustrating that people are critiquing me as if I was ready to have these conversations at all. I'm making a follow-up video that you can keep an eye out for. If you all find me insufferable, then at least it's for what I actually believe and intend to say. This... Oh, I mentioned here. Well, that's weird. I'm always up for what people have to say. My honesty in these situations is why I have a platform to begin with. So you make it. So if you make it, I will... So you make it, I will watch it, okay. Also, your talk with Sunday gave me more insight into how you thought, and I think it was great to hear you expand on some of your ideas. While I don't agree with all of them, it's hard to hate someone who at the very least shares my goals of bettering the world. Okay, we'll see if we'll just let him read it.
Capitalist, violence, and separatism. I was completely unprepared for this topic, and I think debating colonialism is wrong. And this is a subject that needs to be listened to and understood, not argued. It's really frustrating that people are critiquing me as if...
Just as an aside, and I've mentioned this before, this makes me exceedingly angry. Okay.
Why?
And I'll tell you why.
Please.
Because
it seems reasonable. It seems reasonable to me. She saw some people talking stuff. She wanted to clear the air. She reached out, said, "Hey, you know what? I just wanted to kind of give you my perspective of where I was and the headspace I was in." That seems eminently reasonable to me, right?
Sure, yeah. Here's why this makes me mad. So after the 𝕵𝖎𝖎 conversation, she started doing a tour of other channels and having similar arguments. She had the one with 𝕲. She had a bunch of them. Most of them did not go well unless she was coping with people who were already on side with her. Afterwards, she made an hour-long... It was long. I can't remember exactly how long it was, but she made an hour or so long, maybe 2 hours long video just going over like the sequence of events that led to that point. And she says, paraphrasing, I didn't go on to debate colonialism. I just wanted to dunk on 𝕵𝖎𝖎 as an excuse for why she came on completely unprepared, not just to 𝕵𝖎𝖎's stream, which is the crucial point. She wasn't blindsided once. She went on about this multiple times. And I don't know, like this I don't know which one is the disingenuous one, but I'm inclined to go with the latter because that one seems like a cope. This one seems like I don't know if they agreed to debate on an entirely different topic.
Yeah, I have no idea.
Yeah.
If I was ready to have these conversations at all. I'm making a follow-up video that you can keep an eye out for. If you find me insufferable, then at least it's for what I actually believe.
Yeah.
Sorry. I don't, honestly, my critique of someone, let me say this way. I'm going to critique someone's argument as they make it, right? Not how they could have made it had they done it better, right? Not how they could have made it if they had been prepared to do it. Not how they should have made it, right? If they had been able, right? I am going to critique someone based on how they do, how they actually do. Now, I can understand and I can sympathize, empathize even, right? By intending to do it one way but failing, right? People fail all the time, I fail all the time, everyone fails all the time. That we make mistakes, we move on. We adjust, we go forward. But to act as if you should be beyond critique, or people critiquing you are doing so unfairly because you hadn't come in prepared or you didn't expect it to go the way it did, it's not doing you any favors, right? You need to get out of that kind of headspace because people, this is what's going to happen. And I don't think it's inappropriate or unkind for them to do so, right? I think that take the criticisms, take it on the chin, learn, grow, do better. That's it.
I agree to a point. If people are legitimately trying and they misjudge their abilities and they went into it, not as equipped as they thought they were, it doesn't make sense to attack people for that. That's how you learn to do it better next time, and it's part of the course. I think the problem comes when people then try to rewrite history afterwards and try to construe what happened not as a failure they need to learn from, but as the space itself and their critics being unjust in some sense. That's when it gets a little bit appropriate to start, putting some pressure on as to, why are you doing this? Because at that point, what's happening is they're putting their ego and their need to be sort of like the center of discussion and sort of like the protagonist of something ahead of the actual cause itself. I think that's pretty palpably hypocritical. And I think for people who actually care about the stuff they're representing and doing it badly, if they're doing it repeatedly, I think it's fair to take them to task for that. I mean, I agree. Like, same deal. After the fact, it doesn't make a lot of sense to say, "Oh, well, I wasn't prepared for this discussion." Like, you know what you could have done in that conversation? Just flat out said, like, "Hey, we agreed to discuss this. I'm not prepared to have this conversation. We can do this another time if you want," and just insist on that. But she didn't do that. She chose to fight with Vosh and to do her,
and as you said,
her
to
brownie
make the
thing,
rounds,
and it was
to do the tour afterwards. Right?
Yeah.
I understand why, as a content creator, if you have a big moment, yes, do a tour afterwards because you can exploit that, right? Like, exploit sounds bad, but no, that's the proper thing to do. If you have a very big moment, keep it up, right? Like, keep that in people's minds. That's a good thing to do. But yeah, you don't get to make that. No one could critique me. And I also hate, and you may disagree with me on this, I also hate, this subject shouldn't be debated. I hate that. No. People are going to talk about it. People are going to disagree with you, right? We're not going to just believe you. You have to convince us, right?
I think it depends. I agree with you to a point. And every topic at some point, like even determining which topics can or can't be debated is a debate. But I think by the same token, there are some debates that have to be had in a particular way for it to be appropriate. So, for example, it's perfectly appropriate to have a debate about, I don't know, if trying to think of an example that I won't have my head bitten off for.
Risk it for the biscuit, brother. Come on.
If well, because it breaks the analogy too. If the substance of a debate involves the depersoning of people involved in some sense in the discussion. So, for example, if we're talking about whether or not trans identities of some sort are valid, or whether they are strictly the product of mental illness in such a sense as they should be cured. Sort of like how we would talk about like severe depression or things like that. We don't like people with depression are a category of person that like deserves representation and advocacy and whatnot, but that doesn't mean we want to preserve depression by itself. Whereas by contrast, like the dignity of a trans person is also tied directly to their gender.
What do we feel about deafness? Because I know the deaf community.
About deafness?
Yeah, the deaf community has people who think any cure to deafness is an elimination of their community and culture. I know that has been a thing in the past, right? What are your stance there? I'm curious.
I have to look into it more. That's strange.
Yeah, it's worth a deep dive, right? There are, again, people in the deaf community who think that anyone who kind of tries to get or fix their hearing and things like that are traitors to the community, right?
Like my intuition is that something that gives you less ability to navigate the world, as a general rule of thumb, is something you want to repair, not something you want to preserve. But I'm curious and perplexed by that. There are like limits to a certain extent. The question is what is appropriate to pathologize, not whether anything can be pathologized. So we get back to the point I was getting at, though. Yeah. So for that conversation to be had between you, myself, Destiny Vosh, and I don't know, Elder Drazi and Mr. Girl, that would be inappropriate. It would not be inappropriate if there was like some kind of like sufficient trans representation in that conversation. I would say ideally it would be primarily trans people in that conversation, because you're not dealing at that point with people with no first person perspective, relying solely on the alienness of the standpoint to pathologize it and things of that sort. So in cases like that, you want to handle debates very carefully and you want to frame them very carefully. It doesn't mean like they can't be debated, but because the debate itself has real world consequences for how we treat each other afterwards. Yeah, that's my take on that.
Right.
Yeah, I think there is some level of responsibility. There's some onus to handle these topics responsibly.
I would agree with that with almost anything. Yeah, if you're going to do something, do it well.
Sure.
Okay, fair enough.
And intended to say. And I think this is genuinely a pretty good response by Professor Flowers, and I thought it was incredibly kind. And I really appreciate it. I appreciated it so much in the moment I hearted it, because I didn't have any ill will towards Professor Flowers, and I still really don't. And so here was my response. So here's my response about a day later. I'm always up for what people have to say. My honesty in these situations is why I have the platform to begin with. So if you make it, I will watch it. This was my promise to Professor Flowers, that after I watched her debate with Vosh, that I would watch her follow-up video to make sure that I understood exactly what she had to say, because I did care about what she had to say. I've heard what she has to say now, but before I was very open to it, and I let her know that. And I did actually watch that video. I didn't really like it, but once again, I knew what she actually thought, and we could just have that disagreement there. And I thought that was a good thing. Later, I also came back and said, also your talk with President Sunday gave me more insight into how you thought. And I think it was great to hear you expand on some of your ideas. While I don't agree with all of them, it's hard to hate someone who at the very least shares my goals in bettering the world. And that was the last thing I said to Professor Flowers before she blocked me. I don't think I ever really talked about Professor Flowers after this, or in a way that like...
Why?
That was the last thing I said before she blocked me. It was all, let's understand each other. Wow, we're reaching out. And then she blocked me. Wow, okay.
All right, Jama, you didn't miss much. I don't... You haven't followed that whole thing.
No, I don't. It's at a certain point it became very interpersonal, parasocial, and I didn't care.
Okay. Yeah, that was bad. That video was bad. I'll just say that. Okay. Press on.
Expanded on my opinions of her or her ideals than this. This was basically it. I didn't have any other things to say about Professor Flowers. I still don't really have anything more to say about Professor Flowers. I just don't. It just doesn't seem... I just feel like it's very strange to say that I was like incredibly uncharitable to her when this is the type of charity that I was giving to her. I didn't make any promises about anything. All I said that I will listen to what you have to say. I will internalize it. I'll think about it. I hope that we come to an understanding. That's basically it. That's all you really can do in these situations. I'm not just going to believe whatever she says. I'm not just going to turn my brain off and let just random people put like whatever they want in my head. Not every black person is good on black issues. Not every black person is great on indigenous issues. Not every trans person is great on trans issues. Not every woman is great on woman issues. Just because you're of a certain identity does not mean that you're worth listening to on those issues for making the world a better place for that group of people. It's just not true. If that was the case, then I would listen to Candace Owens on black issues, and we all know that's something you shouldn't do. To wrap up this like Professor Flowers thing, and I hope this is the last time I ever talk about it, I just find it so weird that all of these people come for like me and other people in this space that disagreed with Professor Flowers, when even in this DM, she told me she wasn't ready. She wasn't ready. She just wasn't ready for it. She couldn't defend her arguments clearly and succinctly. And I think that's why she felt like the debate was bad. She literally said that almost verbatim.
Which, to be fair, I debated Vosh in this issue and he was a brick wall. So, like, she has my sympathies.
I don't know why you're coming at me by saying that I think that she poorly articulated her points when she very clearly believes that she poorly articulated her points in her debate with Vosh and in this DM that she sent to me that she thought she wanted me to read because she thought that she like respected my opinion in some way or wanted me to think differently of her in some way. And I just think that's weird that you're going to come for me now when this is actually genuinely what she believed about her own debate performance. This isn't me. I didn't do anything. I'm just literally stating exactly what she believes about her own arguments. But on that note, onto the Indigenous thing, because a lot of these people are trying to use this to try and say that like me and other people in this space are like anti-Indigenous or land back or something, when actual Indigenous people came out against Professor Flowers' arguments and said that they were harmful, wrong, and she shouldn't be talking about them in this way. And if that's not more of an indictment on her arguments, then I don't know what else is than the actual people coming out and...
I have a response to this too, but you go first.
I don't like this argument. Hey, there are people in this community who said that this person was wrong, right? And doing it wrong. You can find, right? Especially with, communities with literally thousands and thousands of people, you can usually find people who will agree with you and people who will disagree with you. Minorities aren't a monolith. Groups aren't a monolith like this. So simply saying there are some people in the community that came out and saying that Professor Flowers shouldn't have done it this way or shouldn't have talked about it this way. Even if that's entirely true, that does not make what she says any more or less valid to me. Remember what Shark himself said earlier in the video. Just because someone is a member of a marginalized group doesn't mean they know what they're talking about or know what they're saying, right? So he is trying here. I don't like this, and I'm sorry, Shark.
Also,
I'm going to criticize you here. Yeah. It's a dumb argument, and you just contradicted yourself, right? I don't like this argument.
I'm going to as well. So I can't remember her name, but the land back activist who talked to Vosh DM'd him over, or emailed him rather, and so they had a conversation after the Heme conversation, not after the Vosh debate. That did come out of left field. She wasn't prepared to talk about land back, and to her credit, in that conversation, when she realized, like, hang on, I'm outside of my domain here. She did say, like, hey, look, I'm not actually comfortable debating. This isn't my spot. She did do the I don't think this thing should be debated line, which is dumb, but whatever. And once again, like, the bare fact that you found one person who claims to represent land back projects as a category does not mean that that's the definitive position of land back activists or theorists who talk about that issue. And it's really frustrating to see her being trotted out, because that it literally is just tokenism. Hey, look, we've got one that contradicts you. Checkmate. It's cheap. I've been with Shark up until this line. A lot of people have read into that conversation in that way. I have very little respect for that argument.
Saying that those arguments were bad and harmful. Aren't those supposed to be the people who you said that you should be listening to? Isn't Professor Flowers here the person who should be like sitting down and listening to the Indigenous people? But instead of that, all of these people just keep harping on about how we're the bad guys and we're the bad ones, when I'm agreeing with almost every single Indigenous person I've heard chime in on this issue. Period. I have Indigenous people in my audience, and I actually
like, case in point, there are actually Indigenous people who do actually want the evacuation of colonizer groups. And some of them are actually very interesting, and they have robust reasons for it. In fact, when you actually think about it in historical terms, it's like the one thing that makes this sort of deeply unpalatable to us, to a lot of us today, is just the proximity in time. It's long ago enough, or at least we don't experience the effects of it as directly enough, that it seems like, well, come on. It's like, what, you're gonna talk about, like, reclaiming parts of Greece at this point. It's like, well, no, those groups still exist. Their treaties are still disrespected. They're not benefiting from the arrangement in the way that the instigators are, and so on and so forth, things like that. So, like, it's
it is.
This
It's
is untrue. Like, well, I mean, I don't know about people he's met, but this is, if he's trying to say this is like a general thing, that's not correct.
That's what I wanted to pick on, right? He makes it very clear to the people I've heard, right? Like, yes, we tend to. It's just a natural thing to congregate and listen to people who agree with us. We remember the things that people who agree with us say. We tend to kind of gravitate towards that, right? Naturally. So it isn't surprising, nor is it like rare that the people he happens to listen to happens to agree with his point. But that isn't sufficient to say that most people of a minority group as a whole agree with his point. They might, right? I don't know. This argumentation just isn't sufficient. That's all. Okay, carry on.
It's a shame he didn't join us. I would have actually liked to have a back and forth on this.
Once again, though, he didn't want to. He didn't want to relate.
No, it's understandable. It's understandable. I know. Many fear me. I've come to peace with this.
Insulted them before I made my video about Professor Flowers. It's just the problem that you have is not with me and what I said about Professor Flowers. If you think I gave coon vibes by disagreeing with Professor Flowers, then congratulations. You think Indigenous people give off coon vibes.
No, that's true. Shark did literally say that this line of argumentation is by their standards. That's fair.
By disagreeing with Professor Flowers as well, and I think that's very stupid. Sad. I do also want to say that it's super funny that they are going on and on about how they don't want to go back and forth with any of these bigots. I'm a bigot, apparently. I get all the notifications when you reply back to them. It's like I want the harassment to die down as they're actively pushing harassment against me. Listen, calmness for me, but not for thee. You deserve all the harassment. You deserve the threats and everything, but not me. Not me. I'm the good boy here. Another example of her pushing people to literally harass me, but you know, whatever, I guess. Shark 300, they didn't even put the dot in front so it wouldn't end up as a reply.
I found that so funny when he said that
tweet, which is super funny. But anyways, I'm going to keep it 100 with you. I don't simply not like you. I don't like the way you move. She hates the way I move. I don't know what that means, and I don't really care either. Using some of the same tactics as Candace Owens to uphold the white status quo, reducing pushing lies and misinformation on Cat Black isn't drama. It's strategic trans misogynoir for your own cloud profit gain. I also want to mention that whoever those two content creators who talk to you aren't black trans people who have more what? This is my first time reading the second tweet. I read the first tweet and I didn't give a shit. I haven't read the second tweet yet. I also want to mention that whoever those two content creators who talk to you aren't black trans people who have some reason to be angered with your coonery against black trans figures, cope or whatever you need blood. So here's the thing. I think I talked to just one person on stream and he wasn't black. He called in to ask if I was okay, actually, because he saw all the harassment that I was getting. I'm fine. Just so you know. You don't need to reach out to me and ask if I'm okay. I am okay. I'm fine. I promise. This is the first time that I've been engaged in this type of stuff. But this isn't the first time that I've dealt with any of these types of creatures, insects, as I would like to call them, by the way that they act. So it didn't really necessarily have anything to do with...
What's that?
It's savage, but okay. I mean...
It's warranted. It's fine. I'm not going to criticize him.
Yeah.
Having them come on to prove that I'm right. They asked to come on to ask if I was okay because they're good people and they saw that I was being harassed. And I'm a pretty quiet person and I don't even talk necessarily about how everything makes me feel. And I haven't talked about how everything makes me feel. And I may not even necessarily in this video talk about how everything makes me feel. We'll see by the time we get to the end, right? Whenever that will be, because I don't know necessarily how long this video will be, but I'll try and cover everything that I can as concisely as I possibly can. Calling me something like Candace Owens is just simply ridiculous and low IQ. I'm nothing like Candace Owens. And I even think that is disrespectful to black people who have come under fire from people like Candace Owens or people like Dave Rubin, because the way in which they act and how they uphold white supremacy is far different than my insults to certain people. It is just far different in every way, shape, or form. I actually think about how some things that I say could possibly be used against some black people. We'll talk about that in a moment, but you guys don't, and you don't care. Never have, never will. And I find it hard to care about what you have to say when you don't keep yourself up to the same exact standards as you would try to hold me to. I'm not like Uncle Ruckus. I've never watched Boondocks, mostly because I hate black people. No, I don't really watch TV. So I don't really know necessarily about Uncle Ruckus. I don't watch slave movies either. Those are for white people. Once again, we'll talk
live?
about that
Oh,
in a
shit.
moment.
Okay. We'll edit this part out. Right?
Disavow. That's why he's on the bottom of the screen.
So I'm not like 100% privy to.
Thank you, Option Select, for the 220. All the love for handling Mr. Girl. Remember, chat. Appreciate that. Remember, chat. Whoever makes the most money during today's stream has to sing our outro.
Look, okay,
and I've had to do the last two.
I know you guys are quiet today. I know we had a long stream yesterday. It was a banger, right? I don't know if I sent Sunday. I don't know if you played it for your audience yet, but the
oh yes,
track that we're gonna drop,
God.
right?
Oh God.
But gang, if you like this kind of content, you have to reward me for it. So continue, right, to super chat, throw bits and subs, all that. We got 10 pounds, right, in chat so far, right? Let's get that number up so maybe we can get the new hit single, right? From WhickTV.
So as it stands, I'm on a 40 lead roughly.
True.
A little bit under because pounds are
pounds. Like it's British money. It's
yeah. That was a generous 10 dono.
It was. But let's continue. But yeah.
I want those glasses, but they won't work on my face. My face is too round. I just look like a Nazi.
To literally every reference they're trying to call me, but I just think it's ridiculous. When the Candace Owens one, I'm very sure of. I'm nothing like Candace Owens. I'm not even using the same tactics as Candace Owens. Candace Owens is very clear and very hateful and very bigoted. I'm nothing like Candace Owens. Sorry. And if I am, that says more about how you don't understand who Candace Owens is or who any of these anti-black people are more than it says anything about me. All of this says more about you than ever will about me, ever. Sorry. Right. And I also find it super interesting. Every single one of these types of people who like to say that they hate that they hate drama, they don't want to be in drama. Literally every single last one of them only engage in drama, or like mostly drama, or love drama. They love drama, and then they go on, and so they drop a drama video after a drama video after a drama video after a drama video, and then they'll see how well the drama video does, and then they'll take a screenshot and then upload how well this video did compared to their last videos that weren't about drama, and then they'll be like, I can't believe the world is so cruel like this, and then they'll drop another drama video. I drop some drama videos every now and again. I'm not going to lie to you.
And I'm not going to lie to you either. Celestial Angel 666 just donated $10. I just found the channel, so how do I donate? Whoever is behind. Also glad I caught the stream. That is an excellent question. I should actually link your stream in my description. I will do so.
Let me tell you. Okay, so what you do is you go to youtube.com/@WhickTV with an H, WHICK -TV, right? And then you super chat to me, and I would love to take your money, stranger.
And I actually benefit by this connection, so I would love for him to take your money as well. It saves me from having to sing at the end of this, and I feel dreadful.
And
I will,
because
I will win, Wick. That's how this goes.
I make Sunday palatable to listen to. And
Precisely.
So, right, we complement each other. This is how it works. We help each other. Anyway, he said something there that I actually wanted to talk about.
Please.
I'm trying to remember what it was. I got distracted with the shinies. Oh, here we are, right? This whole concept of drama. Unfortunately, or fortunately, whether you like it or not, that's what drives views. That's what drives engagement. And if you want your voice to be heard, if you want to grow from more than a 10 viewer channel, you have to at least somewhat give the people what they want in this space. And unfortunately, right, you can bemoan it all you like, but drama drives views. It drives donos. It drives engagement. So, like, ideally, you do what entertains you while also giving the people what they want and throwing red meat to the crowd now and again. But I don't see it if they like drama, they like drama. I don't see that as a entirely
just as a brief aside, just on this point, because I think it is interesting. I don't count certain things that a lot of people talk about as drama, and it frustrates me a little bit. Well, for instance, what we're doing right now, this is an inter-streamer dispute. This is a dispute between streamers. A lot of people will talk about this as drama. I've had patrons and followers complain about like covering drama when I deal with things between online personalities. But these are actual political discussions, or they're discussions about political discussions, and there may be like a dramatic element to them in the sense that people are being like hyperbolic and there's invective and stuff like that. But the issues are still serious, and my strategy has generally been, and I've had like a little bit of success with it, is to, and it takes a lot of work unfortunately, but it's to try and do like the interesting, like the serious stuff, but also like try to make that accessible by using what I've learned and what I know, which unfortunately does not extend to communicating clearly to a general audience. Working on it, to weigh into issues between in popular discourse, so you actually like you have some kind of breakthrough. Because like I've all the respect in the world to people who do their little like 3-viewer book clubs online. Like there's a place for that, and if people want to use the platform for that, power to them. But you can't do that and then complain that nobody's listening to you, because that's on you. You have to make your you have to do the legwork.
You are the author of your success and your failure. $5 from 𝕾𝖍𝖎𝖙 to say, feel sad for Wick. Here's some green. I'll take your pity bucks. I'll take them. Thank you. I'll take them. Thank you. No, seriously, 𝕾𝖍𝖎𝖙, strong member of the community. Really love you. Celestial Angel 666 for my $10. Here's your 10 as well to good streamers for the price of one. It's true. And if you continue to donate, we need to set a sub goal. Have you guys seen Full Metal Alchemist? Right? Do you remember that?
You said you didn't watch anime. What the fuck? How dare you? You can't say have you seen Full Metal Alchemist? Okay. You're not allowed to do that anymore.
There's a scene.
You in full view of 𝕾𝖍𝖎𝖙 and her entire audience, you denied that you watched it. You care about acting.
I've seen anime before. That's how I knew how to judge it. I don't judge things that I haven't tasted.
Look at me. Look at me for a sec, okay? Just look into my eyes, okay? We know you've watched anime. You were fooling nobody. Sorry, continue.
There's a scene in Full Metal Alchemist where you have a dog and Nina, right? I believe Nina is her name, right? So if we hit a certain sub goal, right? What happened to them might happen to me and Sunday. You don't know it won't, right? We'll find out. We're working on it. We have our scientists and our researchers hard at work behind the scenes. So you don't have to watch or split views between our channels no longer, right? Eventually, you'll be able to watch in one-stop shop. 2 for the price of 1. You will get an Uber streamer, okay? The amalgamation of both Sunday and Wick. All the good parts. All killer, no filler, right? All the good parts, none of the bad. And we will fuse together, right? Into a super streamer that will conquer them all. Anyway, so continue to donate.
Yeah, and feel no guilt when you explode my head if that ever happens. Skilltree Gaming, thank you for the US $5. Drama is when something happens that makes you Ric Flair woo. I don't know what that means, but thank you. Does it?
That's what it means.
Oh. And then $5 from Insomnoir for Wick's Lies.
For Wick's Lies? Which ones? There's so many. $5 for 𝕾𝖍𝖎𝖙. Here's some more for FMA being one of the few animes you've seen. I have seen, to be full disclosure, Death Note, Full Metal Alchemist, and I don't know if I've seen, like I saw the Berserk movie, I think it was. I'm not sure. There's a couple of them, like the Egg of the King or something. That was pretty good. But yeah, other than that,
the manga's
like,
better. The manga's better.
Maybe, I don't know. Right? I tried to watch Attack on Titan. I didn't get very far into it. I tried to watch a couple others. Demon Slayer? That felt weird. Demon
Slayer is like really well produced and kind of narratively weak. I think what are the really good ones I've seen recently? A lot of people recommend Vinland Saga. I didn't really dig that one so much. Ancient Magus Bride has probably like the best.
Ancient Magus Bride? That sounds like a pornography. I'm not gonna lie.
It's actually weirdly the most asexual anime you will watch. It's got no overtones whatsoever. Extremely good though. Extremely wholesome, which is unusual for a lot of this stuff. That's my relaxation anime.
Fair enough.
We're on season 2 right now.
I will say, right, to the drama thing, getting back to the drama, I think that a lot of times, right, these interpersonal incidents can be a good launching point for a discussion on a larger issue. And I think Shark Zero, right, is an example of this. I think that some of the things, as I said before, I won't harp on it too much. The way that this is rolling out is indicative of a larger problem we have in our space, where we think it's okay to attack people, right? Because they have done something against us. They have hurt or wounded us in some way, so we are going to use racial slurs against them, and that's okay to do. We are justified in our attack. And I'm entirely against that. So this gives me a good way to talk about the issue in a very concrete example. And that is the value sometimes of drama, at least to me. Anyway.
𝕬𝖎, most underrated anime in history. Almost nobody has watched it.
𝕬𝖎? What is that even about?
I couldn't even begin to explain it, but I
why
highly
people
recommend
don't
it.
Watch it. So
the show, not the movie. I think you can basically only get it on DVD now or Blu-ray. I would order that and I would watch it, and you will thank me. But of course, Evangelion. You haven't seen Evangelion?
No.
Oh God, man, you need to watch Evangelion. That's like obligatory. It's on Netflix. You should watch it. The sub, not the dub.
The sub, not the
I'd hope
dub.
that we could learn something from
Yes,
it. But
definitely the sub.
I don't go here and I can't believe there's so much drama when all these people do is make drama. This person who's like been criticizing me this whole time, this specific person, their entire channel is simply drama. It's only drama. That's it. That's it. Their whole channel is simply just trying to attack other creators. And I don't think there's anything wrong with trying to attack other creators who deserve it. I'm just saying that I just think it's really ridiculous how they're really up into the I hate drama crowd, drama bad crowd, when at the end of the day, they love drama. They enjoy drama. They imbibe in it. That's all they ever talk about or do. That's kind of how it is. Sorry.
God. We are an hour and 25 minutes into stream. We're 22 minutes into.
I thought. Look,
we're 1/3 of the way through.
Yeah, we'll get as much as we can. I do have to end at 8. I do have a hard cap tonight, unfortunately, but
that's fine.
I got to prepare for.
So that's what is that for you? That's 2 hours from now? 1 hour?
No, 8 is 30 minutes.
Oh really?
Yeah, so we should get.
Oh right, yeah. That's fine. That's fine. I will live. It's okay.
Himself up as some sort of steward, some ball.
Okay, so chat, like you gotta pay us then, otherwise one of us is gonna have to sing a you don't want to see.
Some sort of incredible person.
Super chat your song recommendations too. We'll find the lyrics and we will have to do it.
And who's here to change things? Who's beating the heck out of the racist white queer community when they're just harassing people at the end of the day, honestly. But hey, listen, it's whatever. And if they're going to come at me for my connections, I feel like that it would be a great opportunity to highlight connections. I think connections are interesting, so interesting. Everybody has so many connections with so many curious types of people, really. And I think this person has some very curious connections indeed, from what I've seen. I'm going to say my connection with Vosh is a big problem with why they dislike me. I'm not very connected with Vosh at all. We have some overlap in our communities. I have a lot of people who don't.
You got a lot of overlap in your communities. Let's be realistic.
A lot of people who are like, don't end up like him, don't be like him. I like you because you're pretty different.
$5 from Celestial Angel 666 to say "Fly Me to the Moon," since we're talking about Evangelion.
Oh, okay. We got to duel that one though.
Is that the "Fly Me to the Moon"?
And let me see, or play Among the Stars. I'll put the lyrics up. The only anime. Oh no, I'm not saying. Oh, option select. Come on, no. Insomnoir for $2. Bohemian Rhapsody by Queen. That's a good one.
That is.
How much did yours pay for Fly Me to the Moon?
$5.
$5. Okay, so we've got $5 for Fly Me to the Moon, and $2 for Bohemian Rhapsody.
Him, there's reasons to dislike everybody, so it's just whatever. At the end of the day, I think this whole thing with connections is going to be very curious because I don't think this person has
seen Squid Game, by the way?
Themselves.
I have.
So bad, in fact, that I think a lot of you all may actually find the connections that they have to be very worrisome, curious.
So you won't know this if you watch the Netflix Evangelion, because they took it out because of licensing issues. But that was famously the end credits music for Evangelion on the TV series.
Really?
It was Fly Me to the Moon. Yeah, which is weird because they never go to space.
And also questionable, especially with some of the things that these people are engaged in. Do you guys remember Eden? The video that I made on Eden? The Saudi Arabian trans woman who was kidnapped from America.
I'm familiar with Eden. You don't know about Eden?
No.
Eden, Eden. Well, oh man, this was tragic, actually.
Wait. I think I know what you're talking about now. Yeah.
She was tricked, I think, into going back to her home in Saudi Arabia.
Oh fuck yeah, no, I do know this.
That was
sorry, I drew a blank on this.
Okay.
Yeah, and she was killed.
Yeah,
or she committed suicide.
She was forcibly detransitioned, and she took her. It ended up with her ending her life.
That was insane. Yeah.
It was a tragedy.
Damn. We'll have this is good because we'll actually have a serious discussion to end this off on. So,
Saudi Arabia and forced to detransition, which ultimately led to her end. Do you all remember that? Well, something that I haven't talked about too much because I didn't want the video in which we talked about her to be consumed by them and their debauchery. Was get this freaking chair out of here, man. Get the heckin' chair out of here, man. I'm talking. One thing that I didn't talk about is how there's not only a group of people who loved and respected and was cherishing her life and respecting it. There's also a group of people who are very loud and very gross who spend their time trying to attack people who are her friends and who do remember her fondly. And it is wildly disgusting to see. And these people who are coming after me are connected with. Specifically, I thought it was very curious how she was found palling around with this person in particular. Let's just call them SG for now. This SG person engaged with this on this platform. And this tweet is, I don't understand how Parker could let Eden get taken like this. This tweet is in response to the SG saying that Parker, which is Eden's partner or ex-partner now, the person who was romantically involved with Eden, they're spending their time harassing this person whose trans partner was killed.
Okay.
Yeah, that's
by
gross.
the brutal.
That's disturbing.
One of the reasons that I didn't cover this incident on stream, right? It feels weird to me to go on a public platform, which I get paid for, right? So I get actual money, right, to talk about the things I do, okay? And so I debated because it was an important issue, right? Like, it was an important issue. But I went back and forth. I still don't know if I made the right call here. I was like, I could cover this, I could not cover this, but it felt almost like I was exploiting the death of a trans individual for my own gain. And so I decided not to, right? I decided, you know what? So many other people are covering this. It is getting the coverage it needs, right? Yeah. It would feel weird for me to kind of use this to kind of maybe drive viewership and try to get
especially if it's like if it's literally just a target of opportunity, because this isn't the thing you usually cover, and it's just like, oh, people are talking about this,
I mean, it is important,
suck some blood from this. Yeah.
And
I wouldn't to be clear, like, as long as you're handling it like as carefully as you know how to do, I don't think there's like something intrinsically wrong about covering like a public tragedy like this. Yeah. But I do respect the impulse. I'm the same way. Like, there are things I just haven't touched just because I don't know.
But like, I did see, and we did talk about a little bit, right? Some of the people going at each other over this, like cats and dogs, like the infighting that this created in certain circles. And this is an example of that I found. I don't think we covered this specific example, right? But this kind of thing, right? Where everyone used this tragedy to try to make a political point against their Twitch enemies and the Twitter enemies, right? Like, and you, because you didn't do this, you led directly to this. And I thought that was gross. And so this also seems very, very gross to me, what this person is doing. I don't like it at all. I disavow. I think it's wrong.
Well, I think in particular, what he's pointing out here, and this comes, this is almost certainly going to come up, but I think of the 𝕵𝖎𝖙 situation as well. and I think people misunderstand what the issue was there. So, I've had to learn a bit about this recently. So the say her name thing was originally used with respect to black women, and then it was later at some point used for Indigenous women. We have a big issue in Canada right now is the missing Indigenous women issue, where a lot of Indigenous women have gone missing and just hasn't been investigated. Just hasn't been taken seriously. It's like, you know, it's treated the same way as like homeless deaths. Nobody thinks about it. It's like, well, of course. I think what people misunderstand about that is that the issue is not that there isn't a discussion to be had, for example, about like generalizing a political slogan or a political like thing that's meant to highlight a specific issue to people. So like if you're generalizing it out, then of course it's not highlighting the thing it was really supposed to highlight. However, when you make that as like, when you make someone else's death like the focal point of this, it's like, well, hang on, why are you using this for this minority woman who was murdered as opposed to this minority woman who was murdered? It does two things. First of all, and people don't seem to understand this. When we're talking about slogans, we're not talking about like watering down your political message or your political advocacy for the sake of making it palatable to liberals. You're literally talking about like something that exists to rally people and to get people's attention to a thing. If this becomes ridiculous in the public perception, you've neutered the ability of the slogan to do its work. But secondly, you've also basically decided to use the slogan and use your defense of the slogan to trivialize the death of the murder of a child, who's also the victim of a hate crime.
Yeah.
It gets really fucking gross.
It's
so
weird.
like in that particular case, what you do is you wait for the body to cool, and then you have a discussion later on. It's like, hey, so we've been generalizing this, and that way you don't look like a psychopath.
That doesn't drive engagement, though.
Well, that's the thing, though, right? It's like when people do that, they don't actually care about anyone. They're trying to be the I know. They're trying to be the center of the discussion. Yeah.
We did talk about that issue because I thought that was like, yo, just let them mourn, right? Let them mourn. Let them say what they want to say, right? Let them highlight it in whatever they want to highlight it and talk about the death. Don't come in and start, right? Like
Let's say, look, how about this on a purely cynical ground, okay? Because some people just don't care, and it's just a fact, and you can't cure people if they're not caring, and you can't make them care, and it's here's the deal. Like, at the end of the day, if you're interfacing with the public, your goal is not just to stamp your foot and state your grievance and then die in obscurity because nobody listened to you. Your goal is to make yourself be listened to. So from a cynical vantage point, you have one thing that you must never do under any circumstances, and that's give people just cause to feel contempt for the issues you're advocating for. And when you do stuff like that, especially when it's children, like we aren't talking about like adults who were killed. We're talking about like a child. That's a category difference for a lot of people, for the vast majority of people. Don't make a child's murder the centerpiece of your critique. That excuse me, that's our slogan.
Yeah.
It's like at a certain point, just even if you're right, fuck off. Like nobody's going to care.
Yeah. Okay. Let's
let's press on. And 499, thank you 𝕭𝖎𝖏 for the 499. Screaming Jay Hawkins, I Put a Spell on You is their recommendation for a musical number at the end. That's wonderful timing. Oh, you actually know that one. Okay, so if
you're mine. That one?
I actually don't know that song at all, so you'll have to help me with that one.
Have you never seen Hocus Pocus?
Anti-trans government.
No, look at me. I'm a fucking nerd. I don't listen to that stuff.
You look like the kind of guy who has seen Hocus Pocus.
I mean, maybe if I had a different like background, possibly, but Like I've just missed out on a lot, which I'm annoyed by because it's not a positive.
It's a fun show. It's a fun little show about witches.
Of Saudi Arabia. This is just genuinely sick, and it makes me sick. And they're connected to even another person who's kind of the big cheerleader in this. This person who I'm not even going to show you on stream, but if you know who I'm
Dr. Cassandra, it's not telling someone to kill themselves. It's just been sent tweets saying they're really clear. It's all this encourages. Okay.
Talking about, you know who I'm talking about. Jay. You know who I'm
Jai.
talking about. You know who I'm
Jay,
talking
Jai?
about. Name starts with J.
I've heard
these
of
people.
her. I'm not 100%.
All I know of her from, because she blocked me before I ever had any interaction with anyone even in her orbit, which is weird. All I know from her is she was in a weird beef with Keffels, I think over the fucking Noodles book again, which is I think why the Noodles book made it into the Soul Bunny video.
Is this the fucking Noodle-nomicon where it's unleashed like untold horrors upon us all, right? What
That's a
noodles?
That's a good title. That's a really good title. They should have used that. Damn.
Oh, well, it's not too. That one's for free, gang. Okay, that one's for free.
Who are connected to this person? They're following. They're having a good time with. They have connections with. They talk to. These people have the sun emoji that I talked about in the video that we made about Eden, as well as a cigarette. And if you know what that means, you'll know how gross that is. How absolutely disgusting that is, but I'll explain it for you. Basically, what it means is it means to smoke one, new pack in the air. It means someone died, your opposition, someone who you don't like died. New op pack in the air is a way to say it, typically with a cigar. Also can be known as smoke a British cigarette, but here in the States, that F word would have a different meaning.
Sending $2 again to ask what game is in the corner. Oh, I am playing and failing at Manifold Garden, which is very good.
Manifold Garden, what kind of game is that?
It's like a Portal type puzzle game. It has no narrative or explanation, but it's just hyper abstract, and it uses like gravity and
a puzzle game,
it's like an Escher painting. So all of it's you get the idea.
That's the whole point. Another big content creator does this. Actually, it's his calling card, an account 100% dedicated to celebrating when trans people die, whether it be by suicide or murder or anything. That's his calling card. He loves to do that too, where anytime a trans person suffers, is abused, assaulted, harassed, killed, they love to post that, especially when they don't like them. I don't like any of these people.
Who's the time of the day? Like, setting aside the grossness of it all, right? Like, setting aside that part. Who's the time of the day, right? Who's the time of the day that you go around celebrating every single bad thing that happens to the people you think are your enemies, right? I literally do not understand the mindset that has to come into place. Like, even if I was beefing with you, right? Back when we were beefing, right? When we were like going back and forth on Twitter and just being nasty. If something bad had happened to you, I would not have even thought to celebrate it, right? I would not have even thought to be like, well, I don't know, what the cigarette thing. I wouldn't, not even thought. I would have just shut up, right?
So here's my take on this. So when the Queen died, a whole lot of people who had not paid any attention to English history or any of the things that the Queen did suddenly became really, really well educated on it. To post hoc justify joining into a throng that was really, really excited about this person they didn't understand dying. By the way, the Queen was not a great person, okay? So if you know about that, it's like, there were reasons to not say anything when other people were celebrating her death. That impulse to jump in on a throng that is just excited about someone they didn't understand dying, or about the human misery of other people. Like, one thing I don't like is people celebrating like families being destroyed or things like that. You shouldn't be advocating for good things dying regardless of who has them. The appropriate response, in my opinion, that is just my opinion, when you see people reaping the fruits of what they've done is just to move on, let them die. When like, now that being said, like when you have a bunch of people who are joining in on that, like let's say the Queen dying, right?
I remember,
Yeah. Whether or not they find those reasons post hoc or not, there are people who will not have found those reasons post hoc. They will actually have like legitimate reasons to be like appalled that this person has been celebrated for their whole long life with all of the human misery they capitalized on and wrought themselves. Don't interfere. Don't start like debates with people about this. Like, hey, you need to show decorum with respect to this particular famous person's death, despite the fact that I have not interfered with this discourse about literally anybody else. A homeless person dies and a bunch of people says, good, less of a burden on society. I didn't go into there. I care because this person's famous and this reached my ears in particular. Yeah. Like there are cases where it makes no sense to be policing people for that. But just as a general thing, it's a gross impulse by itself. Like it just really is. Nobody respects it. The best you can say is, I feel licensed because I've discovered this is a bad person. It's like you're not getting revenge on them. They're dead.
Yeah.
All you're doing is you're making yourself, you're not just, and here's the thing too, it's not just an optics thing. You're not just making yourself look really bad to everybody else.
Yes.
So presumably, you're not
and you
organizing.
Are, to be clear, you are,
Yes.
like, even if you had good reasons to celebrate this person's death, right? You don't look good. It's not a good look. Right.
Which, by the way, like some people will call this like optics cucking or whatever. But here's the deal: you've basically got two options here. Either your goal is to persuade the people around you to agree with you, or your goal is to fucking dominate them. And bluntly, if you're a political streamer, that's not your goal. That's not a thing you are organizing to do. So, insofar as your entire strategy involves communication, what you are communicating to people is that if they sign on with you, if they give you any leeway, they are giving leeway to what by most lights is a fucking monster. Bad move. There's no point. Even if you have zero pity for the person, there is no, that you may be completely justified. Like, just move on. Just don't do anything. Say good riddance if you must,
have a
and
private
then press
party
on.
that you don't televise or tell anyone about, right?
Or
like just
that if you're a weirdo like
do a little
Wick.
sprinkle
That's what'll
right?
happen at my funeral. Thank you, Win, for the $10. About MMIW, I live in northern BC, and I feel like there's a new posting on the missing Indigenous woman. There's a new posting on Facebook about a missing Indigenous woman almost every week. It's really sad. Yeah, it's actually I might actually do a research stream on this at some point. Just to, it's really disturbing what's going on here, actually. But yeah, sorry, Wick, did you want to weigh in on that, or do you want to press on? I know you're running short time.
I think we are of an accord, right? I think that optically, even if you have very good reason to be happy that someone who has been oppressing you or oppressing your family or oppressing your people is now no longer there to oppress you, right? It does no one any favors, right? It does no good. Nothing good comes, right, from publicly being super happy that someone else has gone through pain. It doesn't look good. It's going to turn people off from your cause. It's going to make people think less of you. It's going to, there are no good outcomes.
Also, bluntly, the kinds of person who like reflexively is gleeful at other people being destroyed, that's a bad person. That's not the kind of person we want to proliferate and to run the world. I'm sorry. I will die on that hill.
We are of an accord in here. We like this isn't something we disagree on then. And so yes, right, maybe hold your tongue a little bit. And this is a flaw I have, is if I see it happening, I do try to jump in because I do find it gross. But sometimes I could stand to maybe hold back a little from inserting myself in these discussions. That's a fair criticism of me. However, that said, yeah, I personally, as Wick, think less of you. Even if I don't say anything, I will think less of you. You may not care, nor maybe should you care what I think of you, but I'm not alone in this. So, I mean, I am we are legion, right? There are people who think like me out there all the time. We vote, we make policy decisions, right? And if you want us to be amenable, right, to being sympathetic to your causes, maybe don't look like fucking assholes, okay? That's it, right?
Shark is staring at us judgingly this entire time.
But you won't catch me ever celebrating or being friends with people who celebrate murder of brown trans women. Here's another person they're connected with, quote tweeting Solera back when she was around. Okay, so post your selfies on the Kiwi site. What they're talking about is Kiwi Farms, a forum dedicated to harassing people. Unless one of our 20 mutuals can talk you down from gleefully using your cis reppy guys to harass other trans people through a block. How about that? I know this community isn't so small that someone can't start a conversation, or maybe the Kiwi site can help me start one. This is them actively saying that they would like to use Kiwi Farms, a place dedicated to finding and harassing. And
that's true, by the way. So when the whole Keffels thing was going down after the swatting / whatever it was incident, they were posting pictures of her hotel blankets to try and nail down which hotel she was staying at.
Yeah, I remember that. That was gross, right? I'm not sure. Look, I'm not going to weigh in on Keffels as a creator, as a person. That's not the scope of this discussion.
Yes.
However, right, Kiwi Farms absolutely was horrific, right? What they did was not okay. I am a very big on free speech, as most of you who've seen me before know, but doxing is not that. It is not speech, right? It is, and even if it were, it would be one of the exceptions I would make. I'm not an absolutist by any means, right? What Kiwi Farms did was absolutely not okay. There you go.
Yeah, speaking of which, like, he may be wearing the hood, but I'm going to dox Wick right now. He mans the guard post just on the palisade outside of 𝕵𝖔𝖎. He recovered from his injuries. He was okay. And that is a grave injustice. Find him, orcs.
And tap dancing on the graves of trans people to attack a trans person that they don't like, that they have a disagreement with. That, everyone, is insane. Kira Chats. Now, a lot of you may not know who this Kira Chats person is. They were formerly known as Bad Bunny, but they rebranded.
Oh, that one.
Old issues that they don't want to bring back up. We'll talk about it here because it's important. Because if she wants to get mad, because if this person wants to get mad at me for my connections, let's talk about some of theirs. This Kira Chats person, they used to go by
Kira
Bad
Chats
Bunny.
Attacking a black content creator?
And Bad Bunny,
who would have thought? What?
Know,
no,
right?
This is totally
what is the world coming to?
I am shocked that this would ever happen. Okay, carry on.
Was known as a pretty bad person, actually. Something that happened to them before. You may remember them as the $5 a month girl. I know Moist Critical Charlie made a video about her. Like, I think it's called the greatest streamer ever. It went popular.
A little Wick lore
it
for
went
you.
super
Yeah.
Bad Bunny is one of the few chats I'm banned in on Twitch.
Really?
Yeah.
What was the reason?
That was a while ago. I couldn't give you the exact, but paraphrase. I had
It's just rampant sexual harassment, of course, as you were known for.
Exactly what I'm known for. Going into random streamer women's chat and sexually harassing them. That's if you know Wick, you know that's what Wick does. Okay. No, obviously not.
You heard it here.
She was playing a video. I had some disagreements in the video. She stopped the video, called me a bunch of names, and then her mod blocked me. And that's the story. It's not that exciting.
I think, am I daydreaming, or did Moist Critical also cover Lav throwing her cat over her shoulder? Why am I? Oh.
Mega viral of her going $5 a month, right? That thing. I thought that it was just like a joke within the community. I didn't think that she deserved all that like hate thrown at her for that.
She did.
But it happens. And just
hang on, it's about I don't know exactly the extent of the hate
The
she got for
$5
that. It was
thing
probably
was
pretty bad.
not. I don't. That was silly, but I don't be critical. Like there's so many choices to be critical of this content creator for. So many options we have. Why
Yes.
pick that one? Why not pick the myriad of others that have more weight? and
Because
substance?
to a disinterested white liberal audience, that's the most annoying one. That's why.
if you want to know who that was, you've probably seen that. That's who this person is. Something that's a little lesser known about her, though, is what she was engaged in a couple years ago. Actually, in some cases, not even a couple years ago. Sometimes about a year ago.
I, for one, would never be involved with a guy who's bisexual.
Oh, I remember this one.
Well, wait, doctor, shut the fuck up. I couldn't do it. There might be exceptions, obviously. When I say I wouldn't be attracted or I'm not attracted, obviously, if it's like, obviously there could be exceptions, all you super literal nerds out there, but like, I don't like, if a guy's like having sex with other guys, and then he's like, oh, maybe I'll try having sex with you. I'm like,
Lady, you have sex with guys. Anyways.
even black people, if you found me a black bisexual man, I might throw up in my mouth. You can't hate gay people anymore?
Oh, I forgot about that.
Why would you say that? Why would you say that out loud, live, on stream, on air? Right? It doesn't look like she's joking. Was this a bit? I've done. Look, I'll admit, I've done edgy jokes as a bit like that before, but I make it very clear that it's a meme, right? That it's a meme.
I don't think this was a joke.
But that happened.
I don't think this was a joke. Like the entire manner of this is like she's this is stream of consciousness, and she's anxiously justifying it after she said it. I don't think that's a joke. I think that's real.
And unless
that's
she's
just,
a commensurate actor, or actress, I should say, and unless she's a commensurate actress, this is some real disgust. This is some real disgust on her face.
Yeah.
This is some real disgust in her voice, in her mannerisms, etc. Couldn't be me, gang. Couldn't be me.
I want to hate whoever the fuck I want to hate. I want to hate a person because they're wearing Crocs. Why can't I hate a person because of whatever else trivial? If that reason is trivial, allowed. If I can hate.
Hey, word of the wise. Some people think that as soon as you adopt this tone, you just start going into like the streamer goblin mode rant. That therefore everything you say afterwards is okay and won't bite you in the ass. This is untrue. This is still the most stupid thing you could do as a media creator of any kind. This is just cosmically dumb. As dumb as that lipstick color, which is just offensive to my eyes.
Person for wearing Crocs. That's an incredibly trivial reason, and then people can harp on me about how stupid it is for me to hate an entire person because of the Crocs they wear. But you see me fuck, I will hate the fuck out of that Croc wearing.
She then went on to have a whole conversation and to defend literally all of her points and said she refuses to date a black person, period, with Destiny. Stephen Kenneth Destiny Bennell II. It was so bad, in fact, that like even in that discussion, no matter, like I know a lot of these people think Destiny is crazy racist, and if she came out of this discussion with Destiny looking that bad,
I pray for
what does
enemies.
it make her?
I pray for enemies as dumb as that. I pray for enemies to come at me with the strength of 1,000 suns that are as dumb as Bad Bunny, that are as dumb as some of the enemies that Destiny has had. I pray, right? There is nothing. It is a gift. It is a gift. If I wake up and I see my Twitter notifications have blown up because some idiot has decided to take a swing at me, I rejoice. I am going to feast, right? The engagement with no downside, absolutely no downside, is coming my way. Please, if you are out there and you're a Wick hater, right, and you're less than smart, which is, you know, par for the course. There's a strong correlation between people who hate Wick and people who are low IQ. Strong correlation. Okay, that's known. There's been peer-reviewed studies on this. Okay, so if you want to come at me, I invite you to do so. Please do it publicly, do it loudly, do it the time and intensity. Push that shit. Okay, please. You are doing nothing but feeding me. This helps. Thank you.
I don't have to pray. God's light has already shone upon me.
Right? My dogs. My dogs. And another person who this person's coming after me follows, enjoys, likes, and is always around them in their comment section. Here's what they had to say about Eden as well. Once again, let me remind you, a trans woman who was forcefully detransitioned, taken from her home, kidnapped, lied to, human trafficked, and killed by the Saudi Arabian government. Here's what they had to say about her. White trans spaces claim to have adopted the sun emoji to mourn the death of Eden Knight, who took her own life due to the persistent bigotry of her own parents. But this is not why these folks have adopted the sun emoji for this. They adopted the emoji as a subtle way to launder their hatred for a single black trans woman for the crime of criticizing her for her racist behavior.
Okay, look, there is a time and place to criticize a member of a minority group for their hateful comments against another group of people, or their soft bigotry, or their insensitivity, or whatever it is. I don't know exactly what it is they're referring to here. It is not when the minority group person in question is a younger person who has been manipulated and human trafficked and put into a situation where they took their own lives.
I don't. To be fair to this statement, that's not. I don't think they're criticizing. Well, at least it's not clear that they're criticizing Eden in this case. They're criticizing people who are using the sun emojis, and they're claiming, right, that the people who are using the sun emoji are using Eden's death as cover to just be hateful towards
the first message says that, but go down to the second one. I read ahead.
I can't.
And she she says being called out for being racist has nothing to do with Eden's transphobic, hateful parents. Okay, Eden's transphobic, hateful parents.
Yeah.
Sorry, I've misread this.
Right?
No, you're right. You got me there. I read too fast.
Okay.
Let's press on.
Called out for being racist has nothing to do with Eden's transphobic, hateful parents bullying her to death. This is what the sun emoji here actually symbolizes: an attempt to use one trans suicide for a very large many, and try to turn the entire LGBTQIA+ against one black trans woman, one who was in.
Okay, hang on.
That just seems silly to me on its face, right? Like, how do they know? What evidence do they have that this is the case? This seems like narcissism. It seems like paranoia.
I want to investigate this one a little bit further before I cast judgment on it. But
and I'm saying seems for a reason. This at its face, this is how it reads. This is my intuition.
Yeah.
If there is evidence that shows that I am being incorrect and ignorant right now, present that to me. And you know what I'll do? I'll change my mind. I am not going to die on a hill of wrongness or incorrectness. If you can present to me convincing to me evidence that I have been silly or I have done wrong, I am not Vosh. I will not double down. I will simply say, oh, okay, you're right. Cool. And then move on, right? Okay, fair enough.
In no way responsible for her death. Not one iota. The person who they're talking about is this person whose name begins with J. Person who bullied, harassed, and is laughing, tap dancing on the grave of this dead woman. Wild.
Oh yeah, look at that. Shit. Right. Okay, so in Jay's opinion, is it Jai? I read J-I on it. I read Jai.
I don't know.
I'm gonna say Jai. So dreaded Jai tap dancing on the graves of racists and alt-rights. She's characterizing Eden as a racist and an alt-right person. I don't know enough about Eden to.
I personally wouldn't have connections like this personally, but you know. Maybe some people have different values.
Try to find it on Reddit.
Here's these two interacting with each other. And if you go back through any of these tweets, they love interacting with each other. They follow each other. They talk all the time. And this is what they have to say about dead trans women. But hey, listen, I'm the one who's transphobic. Here's them again confiding with somebody who personally laughed at the death of Eden.
Sorry, I just want to see this again. I do feel she does messy things and then hides her hands when confronted. She definitely knows how to play white woman tears when people clap back at her rightfully. Now I'm adding her to my white leftist industrial complex video essays about couples. Oh no, Catfalls 2 due to the digital blackface.
Digital blackface?
I don't know exactly what this is in reference to with respect to Catfalls, but people are
like some digital blackface, or like
no Chud Logic is what Chud Logic does is a different story. There are people who will characterize using a GIF.
Oh, that's
like for example,
okay,
if I put a GIF of Samuel L. Jackson in Pulp Fiction going, "I didn't ask you a goddamn thing," there are people who will characterize that as digital blackface.
That's diagnosably dumb. Okay, to be sensitive to those who don't like the R slur, that's diagnosably dumb. Okay, and if you think like that,
it's not better, Wick. But continue.
If you think like that, if you think that like I don't know what to tell you, but you need help, right? Go see a therapist, something. I don't know what it is, but you need to check yourself before you wreck yourself, gang. Okay.
I endorse that last one.
Maybe it's a me thing. Maybe it's all at the end of the day still just a me thing. Who knows? Who can tell anymore? Now, in response to this video, in response to this clip that was posted on Twitter, I tweeted, why do these people want to call me a house N-word hard R for disagreeing with them on like 2 drama cycles? They went full,
you tripping, bro. You tripping.
Off of this one. They didn't like this one, not one bit. Let me tell you that. Let me tell you that, and let me show you exactly what happened. In response to this is what happened. This 𝕾𝖍𝖎 person replied to me and said this, quote tweeted me, which is the most aggressive move that you can make on Twitter, mind you. Dog, I wanted to give you the benefit of the doubt, but when the majority of black creators are calling out bigotry and you consistently side with the white ones, trying to be holier than thou in our spaces, there's a pattern, and you gotta do some introspection. Here's the thing. I'm not trying to be holier than thou. This is who I am.
Stop, pause it.
I'm just this.
Again with this argument, like most black creators, man, they don't know most black creators, right? Most black creators don't know them. Most black creators haven't weighed in on this subject. Most black creators have no idea who either of these parties are. Appealing just because your circle and your audience all agrees with you, right? Doesn't, like, it's not indicative of anything larger than that, than the people who like you agree with you. And no shit, Sherlock. No duh. I don't know what to tell you other than that.
Something else as well. Something else as well. Creators are not a representative of any population. Creators are weird. Yeah. We're weird. Like, it is not usual for people to be able to make a living or to prospectively make a living streaming themselves talking about random stuff at their computers. That's bizarre. It's not a free ride. It's actually a lot of work, believe it or not. But like, it's weird.
I would like it to be a free
I would
ride.
never say that.
If it's a free ride, and you know how you can make it a free ride, gang? By subbing to the channel, right? If you haven't done, like and subscribe, right? Throw bits at us, throw super chats at us, throw gift subs at us. Come on, let's get some love in the chat for Wick and Sunday, for some Sundick. Come on. Give me money. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, maybe 10 years ago. Unfortunately, the door to get in and to play Factorio for 10 hours a day and make $1 million a year is closed.
Type of person. If I'm holier than thou to you, then you must be quite unholy. That's just a you problem. It has nothing to do with me. That being said, I'm not sure if I can say like the majority of black creators. You don't know the majority of black creators. I don't know the majority of black creators. You don't know the majority of black creators. 𝕾𝖍𝖎.
This is appropriation. Not okay.
Unbelievable.
How dare he?
It's the plight of the white content creator.
I know, right? Man, the most oppressed content creator.
And I don't know what he's even like trying to refer to here, because for me personally, and I'm not even sure what this person is trying to say here, because he also sides with white people. Like, white people are on both sides of the argument. I don't know what he's talking about. I've never said that there isn't racism in the community that I'm in. I'm not in his community. His community is cornbread tube. That's the community that he's in. I'm not in that community. I don't have anything to do with that community. I don't want anything to do with that community. I don't like it. I don't like the people that are in it. They just sound like horrible human beings. So I'm not engaged in that community.
Don't use it.
I'm in
Don't
many
use it.
different
Sounds
communities.
racist.
That's just one that I'm not really in. The people who subscribe to that community just seem like mostly bad human
See, look,
beings.
remember that slur discussion we were having the other day? This is one of those ones that you can't use, okay?
who I don't want anything to do with, and I hope never try to speak to me again. I have most of them blocked, and I would like to keep that a thing. And then he went on to get on me about like criticizing his video, which is super strange because I didn't believe that I criticized his video. If you remember, I shouted out 𝕾𝖍 when he made his video. He mentioned me in it, and I wanted to talk about tokenization because I felt like that'd be a great discussion. I listened to it back, and for some reason, he thought that I was just like completely destroying his video when I very clearly said, I'm not taking down this video. I think everybody here makes good content. I think you should watch the video, and I think he touched on really good points, and I agreed with a lot of the points that he made. He thinks that I was criticizing his video because I didn't agree with every single point, down to every single word that he said. That's why he thinks that I criticized the video. That's why he thinks that I didn't like him. That's why he thinks that I tried to insult him or something. Not because that I'm like, not because that we had some like core huge disagreement. It was because I had a slightly different disagreement, and pun not intended, if you're not whipped into line with these people, they will try to destroy you. They don't like you. They don't want you. They want you dead. Sometimes they'll laugh at you if you die. We just saw that. They're friends with people who laugh at trans women when they die. And I'm supposed to take these people seriously when they're sitting here telling me that I'm the bad guy here? Here's the thing. Almost none of them brought up any real points for why they dislike me, or they didn't articulate it well at all. They would have gone through and read everything and showed everything and said everything.
Trivially true, right? As I said, I did see the Soul Bunny video, right? The criticisms and critiques of Shark specifically were very vague in general. Accusations made. The only specificity, as I said before, was the clip of Demon Mama showing those tweets of him. But even that lacked context and became very hard to parse as why this was a problem in Soul Bunny's eyes, right? She threw out a lot of terms, right, about him, called him a lot of names, but didn't back any of it up. And so this is my problem with a lot of groups. This transcends this specific instance. This transcends these specific people. This is a problem in a lot of groups, both online and off. The idea that if you are not with us 100%, you are our enemy and will be treated as such is disgusting to me. It's not efficacious. It's not good. It doesn't make you a good person. It weakens your cause and it weakens you as a person. You are less likely. Your views, you should challenge your views. You should bring people into your circle that challenge your views regularly. Doesn't mean you should bring everyone into your circle, obviously, right? It doesn't mean you should let everyone in, but let people in and let people have a say and listen to people who have problems with you from time to time. That's the only way you are going to be strong and healthy as both an ideology, as an in-group, as an individual even. You need to do it. Otherwise, you are a cult. Thank you, Knocker. Gang with the names. Cult mentality, okay? It's cult mentality. Absolutely right. Absolutely right. We need to get rid of it. I do have to go soon.
Yeah, I was going to ask you about that.
Yeah.
Let's, can you stomach 10 more minutes just to give us some...
Yes, I can.
10?
Let's
okay,
go.
well, let's do that. Chat, remember, whoever gets the most donos has to sing our outro. I've done it the last two times. It seems a little unfair.
Just to be clear, we are at $35 on my end. If we're counting Twitch, too, we're probably up at 50.
Okay,
so,
that's not bad.
Yeah, it's not bad, but it could be better.
It could be better.
I want it to be better, so... Yeah,
my throat's sore and I'm tired. Give our guests some love this time.
If they thought that I was really that bad of a guy, they would.
Or somebody super chats me $50 and demands that Wick sing our outro, I'll have to concede.
Yo, if someone chats, same. Like, don't take my money. Anyway, carry on.
But they don't. I wonder why. That video that I made, it's a great video. I think it's a great video. Fantastic video, actually. I was very succinct. I was very clear. And I was very nice in that video. But that's not good enough for them. They don't want niceness. They don't want discussions. They don't want to cross the aisle. They want you to be in line with them, or you are dead to them. That's how it is. After this occurred, this 𝕾𝖍𝖎 person then went on to try to attack me in my own chat.
Hey, you know what I want to do? He's going to be litigating a lot of tweets, and we don't have much time. Yeah. I want to go to this most viewed section near the end.
Okay, go for it.
It's like 55 to the 1 minute mark. That's 5 minutes. I think that's... Sure. You can handle that? Okay.
Yeah, let's go.
Them into a world where...
Imagine a world.
Be racist towards them. I said, cut the racist person out of their family. He said that's disgusting and wrong and unfair to the kid. So just don't have them. And for my performance in this discussion,
what?
I'm a racist against black people.
I saw this. Actually, I saw this debate that he's referring to. It's with 𝕾𝖍𝖙.
Oh, that one.
They had a debate on I forget the term, but race mixing, basically, right? And 𝕾𝖍𝖙 was fairly solidly anti-race mixing.
Yeah.
So the quote that Shark, I don't remember if I can't remember exactly what was said, but I do remember that when I did see the video, I came off with the same impression of 𝕾𝖍𝖙's position as Shark iterated there. Now, again, I don't know if that's what he said specifically. Don't quote me there, but I do remember coming off with that impression. So, okay, now I know where we are at. Now I'm picking up what we're putting down.
For that belief that he's wrong in this discussion, I'm anti-black people. Out of all of that, there was another person as well who tried to come at me. He was like, there was another person, I think the last person that we're going to be talking about today. He tried to come at me and say that I'm a horrible person. Boy, he calling me, wow, calling a black person boy. Curious, is it not? Boy, that hard R definitely was a choice. And then I said, that's literally what they're saying about me. Then he said, nigga, you been spending too much time around Vouch and them because you wouldn't know there's a big difference between nigga and hard R. Ain't nobody call you N-word hard R. Probably them debate homies of yours. Stop this cap and come home. We miss you. I never want to be anywhere near you people. You all are horrible human beings. I never want to be anything like you. And the more deviation that you perceive that's between me and you, the better I think I am as a human being fundamentally. And apparently the hard R, apparently I don't have the hard R pass. I can't use the hard R, even though that's literally exactly what they're all calling me. What he called me specifically, he literally called me that. And proof of it is right here. I think probably one of the last big, just like interpersonal things that have happened over the last 2 weeks. And it's this. Jesse Earl, or Jesse Gender, a transgender YouTuber, white, mind you, responded with this to say, debate Twitter right now, and then posted a movie of, I've been informed, is Django with a house slave or something clutching onto a presumably slave owner.
Samuel Jackson, my dude.
Like how? What? You had?
I can't remember if he's a house. I can't remember if he's a house slave or he's like, kind of like
he's the.
Was he a slave? I can't remember if he was like a manservant or something.
He was head of the household, the head slave, right? Like.
Right. Yeah. Gotcha.
Yeah.
It's been a hot minute since I saw it. I couldn't quite remember. I remember though, like he was. Then the reason for the tweet, of course, is that he was relishing his position.
Is clear to anyone who's seen or who's even familiar with the movie, right?
And I'm supposed to be the slave, and
like, why should end Shark? He's the kindest person. Like, what the fuck? Because he stole the Declaration of Independence, obviously.
Vosh is supposed to be the slave owner. This is Jesse specifically liking a picture of me depicted as a slave because I disagreed with some of the people who she thinks are cool. The white sheet feeding shark to the wolves after this person called them out on they shit, who these people are.
It's worse than that.
Now, for
it's
me,
worse than that. Hold on, it's worse than that. They aren't just implying he's a slave here. Let's be
No, they're
clear.
implying he's complicit.
Yes, and a traitor, right? That is the implication. It's not a good one. It's really, really gross, right?
Yeah.
You're basically calling them, as Shark is alluding to, a certain type of hard R, right? So.
Personally, I deleted some tweets before, going after some people, sniping back at people who were insane, because I actually care about some of the things that I say. The reason why is because even if I didn't want to delete that tweet, I deleted the tweet mostly because I didn't want to give the white people in my audience basically a free card to call a black person like a slur or something. That's the main reason why I didn't do it. Actually, for this reason specifically is why I deleted some of those tweets, some of the tweets that they didn't like, that I all stand by, mind you. One of the big tweets that they're really upset about was me calling this girl a negress. This is one of these people who are once again attacking Eden and her friends and making fun of them and using the opportunity of a dead trans woman from the Middle East, using her death as a cudgel against people who they don't like. Honestly, I was in between calling her a negress and a niggerita. I really wanted to go with niggerita. It was really good, but I went with negress at the end of the day.
Okay,
I think next time I'm in.
Hey, Shark,
no, don't do it, Shark.
Shark,
Don't
I
do
like
it.
you, buddy.
Don't
like
do
you,
it.
buddy.
We've just been criticizing everyone for calling you things. We've
Yeah.
just done that. Don't do it.
You're making it difficult. Just keep that to yourself.
$5 from Celestial Angel 666 to say, I haven't seen the movie and I know that scene is calling him something pretty bad. That is correct. Thank you for the $5. But
It is. Look. It is objectively, and well, not objectively. I read that as being less offensive than what Shark was called, especially in that context.
Sure.
And I've disavowed the tit for tat justification because it's still. This is a really dumb move by Shark. Like, really dumb. You're smarter than this dude. Nonetheless, like, there is at the very least a pretty offensive thing he's responding to in the first place. Like, I understand the anger behind it, as opposed to just...
My criticism against this is mild, but it remains.
Yes. Well, it's just like, the main thing is just... It's needless. This does not help anyone. This only opens you up to attack. So, while, like...
And this is... I did see this specific clip. They're using it.
Yes, I've seen this as well.
Tweeted this out. I've talked about this with other creators, right? This is something that they absolutely weaponized against him. It was an
not effectively. Error. It's more just a rallying cry for people who are already against sharks that are falling in.
Right, not effectively to you or me, but once again, we talked about how sometimes people come across things on Twitter, right? And if you don't have the context and you come to this, right, and you're looking at this clip, it doesn't make you look good.
Well, so he felt the need to make the video addressing the quote-unquote allegation. I'm still not aware of any allegations, but like whatever, to address the Soul Bunny video and it's invective against him. We'll close out on this comment, I guess. So there is a world in which she does a better job in that video, and she is taken more seriously, and this is catastrophic for Shark. Fortunately, her video was very bad. It was not well received. Nobody was sold on it who wasn't already, like, a priori sold on her position. But, like, and this could pop up again 2 years from now, as stuff in this video from 2 years prior popped up in it. So it's like, just, I wish people would, like, think more than 2 steps ahead with this kind of thing.
And I also want to take a little I'm sorry, but I want to take a little issue with something that was said in my chat from the Trib1, who says it's his
that
right,
one. I know that one.
It's self-defense. What exactly? I disagree. I don't think it's self-defense. If I thought he had a reasonable expectation of stopping the attacks against him by using this, maybe you could make that argument. But I don't think it has any reasonable expectation of stopping any attacks. In fact, it's escalating the attacks, and it's going to be
but to be fair, okay, let me
right?
Yeah. Let me push back a little bit on that, though. From his vantage point, he's the one directly under attack. It might feel very much like that's the appropriate thing to do in self-defense. That might feel needful in self-defense. And that's like that determines what you can hold somebody blameworthy for, whether or not it's reasonable.
I don't blame him. I'm going to be real clear. I want to. Maybe I need to be more clear. I'm on Shark's side on this. Shark's not in the wrong here, but I am criticizing just as I criticized when they called him slurs. I'm going to criticize when he, even if he used lesser ones or less offensive terms, I'm also going to criticize that, because the principle is I'm not going to check who you are calling the racial slur before I call you out for using the racial slur. I'm going to check the skin tone of the person you're calling the racial slur, or who's calling you the racial slur. I'm not going to check their skin tone before I see if it's okay. I'm just going to say across the board as a principle, with the only exceptions I could even think of are like beyond the pale. We've talked about this before, right? I think we had this conversation after the Katie discussion.
We did, actually, and just continuous with this, my last comment response before we close off. Red Hand says, honest question, how does it matter if black people use racial slurs amongst each other, and should we police that? I don't think we should police that. However, I think there are some kinds of instances of this, and me and Wick had a disagreement about what these are in a previous conversation, which I will upload tomorrow morning probably. I think there are cases where it is appropriate to criticize one party for using it in a particular way with certain justifications, and there are times when it isn't. And those vary from like pragmatic to moral, like whether you think like the action is just bad in itself in all cases, or whether you think it's bad in this particular case because of what it's doing in this particular conversational context. It's very pragmatic. I think the idea that we should be policing other groups for using terms that are that slur specifically those groups, I don't think that is blanketly the case. I think there is, like, for example, if the person making this video was Vosh and he was giving the last 5 minutes of explication, we would be, even with Wick and his free speech absolutist positions, we would be having a very different discussion. I think it's fair to say.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, so it does definitely change things. Okay, well, I suppose it is time. The hour is upon us.
We're up to 55 on my end.
Is that Twitch and YouTube combined, or is that
Twitch
just YouTube?
and YouTube combined, unfortunately. Dang, unfortunately.
All right, well, I win. It seems like, unfortunately, with $90.
Go ahead, winner.
Chat, you got 1 minute. You got 1 minute. That's the latency.
To change the odds, to fix it, to take this horrible injustice that has been done to the WhickTV community and to right this historic wrong. It is in your hands, dear chat, your wallets, in fact, to make sure, right, that WhickTV representation isn't forgotten, that we aren't buried under the sands of time, that when historians, archivists, scholars look back on this day, they see evidence that the Wickers didn't go down without a fight, that the WhickTV community stood up and said, we stand against this injustice, we stand against this wrong that has been committed. Okay, well, I guess they're not standing up that far, so go ahead, sing us out.
Fly me to the moon and let me play among the stars. Let me see how low my voice can go before it cracks. In other words, buy my new microphone. In other words, baby, wick me. Oh God, I'm gonna vomit now. Fill my heart with song and let me sing forevermore. You all that live, I've lost the line I'm on. In other words, please be true. In other words, I love you.
One more thing before we close out. Tomorrow,
Yes.
6 p.m. Eastern, I have Bryson Gray coming on my stream. I'm not sure if you're familiar with him. He is a black Christian rapper who has opened for Trump rallies. He's very MAGA, and he will be joining us to discuss religion. Tune in 6 p.m. Eastern tomorrow. Okay.
My chat dropped by like 30 people, and I think they were very correct in that judgment.
Okay, I'll see you guys later. Peace.
Good night. Ciao.
Okay, gang. Was that fun? Was that fun for you? I'll see you guys tomorrow. Tune in. Thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you to all the people who've donated, to all the people who've contributed. I really appreciate you. Thanks for tuning in. Glad you're here. And we'll see you tomorrow, 6 p.m. Eastern.